Chapter 106. After preparing for a while, they will set off immediately. If Yun Tianxing doesn't return for too long, it will definitely make them suspicious. So while they don't know what's going on, Yi Tianyun's plan is to kill them all in one go. Dragon's treasure stronghold is in front of us. Lu Minglian pointed at the stronghold in front of her. Her eyes are full of anger. This is the place that gave them an indelible memory. Yi Tianyun doesn't need Lu Minglian to say anything. He can see the dragon's treasure stronghold not far away. The entire mountain is surrounded. It looks like an impenetrable castle. There are guards on the side to see if there are any intruders. Okay, then let's go, Yi Tianyun said. Just like that? Lu Minglian is startled. This is the front of the stronghold. Won't they have to face a lot of bandits? Yes, let's go through the front gate. Yi Tianyun walked up and said indifferently, "Don't go more than 2 meters away from me, just follow me." Lu Minglian nodded. She didn't say anything. She completely obeys Yi Tianyun's order. When they just got close to the dragon's treasure stronghold, the guard on the gate immediately saw Yi Tianyun and said, "You don't know that if you come close to the dragon's treasure stronghold, you will be severely punished." Then he pulled the bow in his hand, aimed at Yi Tianyun and Lu Minglian and said, "Don't move, don't think about leaving. If you move even a little bit, I don't mind nailing them to the ground with my bow." Just getting close to the dragon's treasure stronghold is equivalent to being captured. They can't even walk away. Yi Tianyun didn't even look at him. He just threw a stone, and with a xiot sound, the stone penetrated the man's head. Ding! Successfully killed dragon's treasure stronghold guard, gained 400 EXP, 30 crazy point. This is a pitiful amount, but there is no other way. These guards have low cultivation. Killing them doesn't give any EXP. He did not even use his lucky halo. There was no need for that at all. Lu Minglian was dumbfounded when she saw that a stone could kill someone. She had only seen it secretly before, and it had always been hidden in the dark. Because her cultivation was too low, she was always hiding at the back. She would only be a burden if she came out. Now that he was watching from the side, he finally felt how domineering Yi Tianyun was. Killing someone with just a stone was a piece of cake for someone of his cultivation, especially when the opponent's cultivation was so weak. This was the difference in cultivation. "Sister Shaolian, let's go." Yi Tianyun walked over and came to the gate. Suddenly, the chaotic heaven's sacred axe appeared in his hand. It was almost as tall as a person. The huge axe blade was sharp. As soon as he took it out and put it on the ground, a deep pit was formed. This chaotic heaven's sacred axe weighed several thousand kilograms. Without enough strength, it was impossible to lift it. Ding! Activating chaotic heaven suit attribute increase. Increase defense by 2 times, speed by 3 times, damage by 2 times. Originally, he had been wearing the chaotic heaven divine armor and the chaotic heaven combat boots. On the surface, it was not visible because he had hidden them. However, he could not hide his weapons. When the chaotic heaven sacred axe was taken out, his strength instantly increased, and his aura surged. Sometimes, to kill a chicken, you have to use a butcher's knife. Then Tianyun raised the chaotic heaven sacred axe, aimed at the thick gate in front of him, and fiercely chopped down. A sharp saber light erupted from the chaotic heaven sacred axe and blasted out. Boom! The thick gate, under the heavy blow of the axe, directly blasted a big hole. After the sharp saber light penetrated the gate, it continued to penetrate forward, leaving a deep ravine on the ground inside. It looked like a crack had appeared on the ground. Yi Tianyun lifted his foot and walked in. What came into view were many houses. In addition, he saw many people farming in the distance or hanging up. Their bodies were full of injuries, and it looked shocking. There were many people, and a considerable part of them were obviously ordinary people. The judgment was very simple. Yi Tianyun's appraisal eyes took in all the situation. With one look at such low combat power, he knew the situation. Sister Shaolian. It's Sister Shaolian. It's really Sister Shaolian. When the group of people on the side saw Lu Minglian, they all raised their heads and looked at her in shock. They did not expect Lu Minglian to appear here. Xiao Dong, Xiao Yun. She covered her mouth. They were all injured, and there were also many injuries on their faces. They looked as terrifying as a few centipedes crawling on their faces. In addition, there are a lot of people that Yi Tianyun knew, but they didn't seem to be in good condition. But there are also a lot of people that Yi Tianyun didn't know, but they were all imprisoned, their feet were shackled, and walking is a problem. Some of them were even worse, they were whipped by the bandits, and because they broke in, they stopped. Who are you people? The guards immediately reacted and quickly picked up the weapons at hand and rushed over. Nothing, just the people who killed you. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed, his body rushed forward, and suddenly waved his saber. A sharp saber light swept out, they didn't react, they were cut in half by this terrifying saber light. For a time, blood splashed everywhere, sprinkled all over the ground. Ding, successfully killed a bandit, gained 700 EXP, 80 crazy point. Thing, success. These bandits' cultivation is not high, they are all in the 6th or 7th level of body refinement realm. But soon, a spirit refinement realm cultivator rushed out, and when he saw the domineering Yi Tianyun, he was scared. There is an intruder, hurry, inform the leaders. The cultivator who rushed out hurriedly shouted. At this time, someone immediately sounded the alarm, the bell kept ringing and spread throughout the mountain. Dragon's Treasure Village has a total of 2 gates, many people are on the other side, so when the alarm was sounded, they immediately came to rescue. What's the situation? Immediately, someone ran out of the house on the side, he looked around nervously, and finally his eyes fell on Yi Tianyun and Lu Minglian. He said angrily, "Who are you two? How dare you break into Dragon's Treasure Village and disturb this uncle's fun? You are courting death." He roared, the aura of the 6th level of spirit refinement realm burst out. He picked up a long saber and was ready to kill Yi Tianyun. Yi Tianyun did not move, his eyes flashed with cold light, he swung the chaotic heaven's sacred axe forward, a saber light slashed forward. The bandit didn't react, he was pierced by the saber light, the remaining saber light slashed into the house behind him, accompanied by a loud bang, the whole house collapsed. After being slashed, the bandit fell to the ground, his blood scattered on the ground, he is dead. Chapter 107. Yi Tianyun's murderous aura shocked everyone. The bandits were scared to death. They have never seen such a terrifying god of slaughter. Just one slash was enough to kill their hall master, easily splitting him into 2 halves. Immediately Yi Tianyun rushed forward, obviously carrying such a huge axe, but like a gust of wind, he sprinted forward quickly, aiming at the front, just relying on the blade bursting out of the axe blade. It is enough to sweep everything in its path. If one slash can't solve it, then 2 slashes will do. Aha, run! Demon, absolute demon, run away. They are all crazy, running in all directions, but their speed can't outrun Yi Tianyun's attack. With a flash of cold light, they fell to the ground, no longer moving. They turned into experience and crazy point, pouring into Yi Tianyun's brain. In the blink of an eye, the place was filled with the smell of blood. The people who were standing before are already lying down, the remaining few scattered injured lying on the ground. Fortunately, they were not split in half. At this time, someone ran out from one of the collapsed houses. However, it was a woman covered in scars. She ran out from the collapsed house. Her body was wrapped in a sheet. Her face was full of horror and humiliation. When she saw Yi Tianyun and Xiao Lian, she suddenly froze. Sister Xiao Lian? Menghua? When Lu Minglian saw the woman in front of her, she was stunned on the spot. At this time, suddenly someone grabbed Menghua, strangled her neck and dragged her back. The person who did this was none other than the bandit who had luckily escaped a fatal blow. Taking advantage of this gap, he quickly grabbed Menghua and placed his bloody palm on her neck. Blood immediately dyed her neck red. Don't come over. If you come over, I will kill her. The bandit's face was pale, holding a short sword in his hand, stuck on Menghua's neck. Don't do anything. Lu Minglian's heart tightened. She reached out to the bandit not to mess around. Don't worry about me. Young hero, hurry up and kill them. Avenge me and the other villagers. Menghua's tears continuously fell. Ever since she had been captured and brought here, she had been continuously humiliated. Her heart had already collapsed. Shut up, bitch. The bandit covered Menghua's mouth, preventing her from speaking. He was worried that Yi Tianyun wouldn't care about Meng Hua's life and death and would slash at him. He didn't want to die, so he could only use Meng Hua as a shield. Meng Hua was not afraid of the saber against her neck at all. She began to struggle, wanting to break free from the bandit's hand covering her mouth. Meng Hua. Tears continuously fell from Lu Minglian's eyes. This was her childhood playmate. She didn't think that they had already reached such a stage. She wanted to get closer, but she couldn't. Then she felt a gust of wind blow past her, and the bandit was sent flying with a bloody hole in his head. Yi Tianyun's hand was still in the throwing position. It was obvious that he had thrown another stone. No one can escape and you won't get hurt. Yi Tianyun patted Lu Minglian's shoulder and said, "Sister Shaolian, I'll leave this place to you, I'll take care of the rest. The bandits here have been completely cleaned up. What's left is the bandits in the second half of the mountain, and the leaders are there." When he rushed forward, a strong murderous aura came from a distance, followed by 3 people rushing towards him. Each of them was not weak. The weakest was at 8th or 9th level of Spirit Refinement Realm. The leader was at 2nd level of Core Condensation Realm. He didn't expect that there would be a strong cultivator at Core Condensation Realm in such a small village. It was really unexpected. "Who are you?" "The leader of Dragon's Treasure Stronghold, Long Bat-in." The 3 people are the 3 leaders of Dragon's Treasure Stronghold. The leader is Long Bat-in, and the other 2 are Long Hun and Long Quan Tian, the 3 brothers of Long Clan. Long Bat-in, cultivation 2nd level of Core Condensation. Weapon is Long Quan Dao, a high-grade spirit tool. Wearing a middle-grade spirit tool armor. Combat power is 18,000. His weakness is his left foot, which was injured before, so it's easy to defeat him. Possible items for killing are Buddha Kill Palm, high-grade human-level martial art, Feng Tian Dao, Long Hun Tian, cultivation 1st level of Core Condensation. Weapon is Tyrant Tian Dao, a high-grade spirit tool. Wearing a middle-grade spirit tool armor. Combat power is 16,000. His weakness is his chest, so it's easy to defeat him. Possible items for killing are Buddha Kill Palm, Feng Tian Dao, Long Quan Tian. Cultivation 8th level of Spirit Refinement. Weapon is, detailed data is listed. All 3 of them are holding a broadsword, which is a high-grade spirit tool. Their equipment is also not low, which is a middle-grade spirit tool. This made Yi Tianyun a little surprised. He thought that in this remote place, there would be at most someone at 7th or 8th level of spirit refinement. But now, not only there is a core condensation cultivator, but there are also many good weapons. This is really unexpected. He didn't expect to be so rich hiding here. Surrounded by a dilapidated mountain village, where is the money coming from? "I'm here to kill you." Yi Tianyun turned into a sharp light and rushed out. He doesn't need to use crazy mode at all. Just the attribute bonus of the set is enough to kill them in seconds. Xiao, he carried the giant axe and rushed forward. Under the rapid sprint, there are countless footprints on the ground, all of which were pressed down by the heavy giant axe. Although the giant axe is heavy, its speed is not slow. In the blink of an eye, it arrived in front of them. There is no need to use any martial art at all. Relying solely on the power of the weapon and his own attribute, it is enough to sweep everything in front of him. Retreat. The berserk power frightened the 3 of them. Long Bat-in hurriedly retreated, but Long Quan Tian, who had the lowest cultivation base, was too slow. The sweeping giant axe easily chopped him in half at the waist. Long Quan Tian let out a miserable shriek as he fell to the ground. Even the sturdy armor on his body was unable to withstand the terrifying blade aura, and was cut into 2. Ding successfully killed Long Quan Tian, gained 32,000 EXP, 800 crazy point, got Buddha Kill Palm, Feng Tian Dao. 3rd brother. When the other 2 saw this, they roared. Their guts were about to explode, and their anger immediately surged. "You bastard, I'll kill you!" Long Hun roared and swung his sky-dominating blade at Yi Tianyun fiercely. A violent aura was released from Long Hun's body, and it was as if a tiger had emerged from his body and rushed towards Yi Tianyun. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed, and he swung his axe to meet the attack head-on. A cold light flashed, and Dragon Soul Sky's dominating heaven blade was sent flying. When he landed on the ground, both of his arms were smashed to pieces, and there was a deep cut on his body. Chapter 108. Second Brother. Long Bat-yin hurriedly ran over and saw Long Hun Tian on the verge of death. Long Hun Tian's face was pale. Just one strike from Yi Tianyun was enough to make him seriously injured. Long Hun Tian's body was twitching, blood was splashing everywhere, and his eyes were turning white. It seems that you have a deep brotherly bond. Did you ever think about other people's sisterly bond or father-son bond when you did your evil deeds? Yi Tianyun's expression is cold, especially after seeing the situation of the dream flower. It made his heart even colder. Although he had already expected these things, he still felt extremely disgusted and angry when he saw it. Long Bat-yin gritted his teeth and glared at Yi Tianyun, then turned around and ran away, ignoring Long Hun Tian. Want to leave? Yi Tianyun carried the chaotic heaven holy axe and chased after Long Hun Tian. Don't even think of running away. From today onwards, Dragon's treasure stronghold will never exist. Long Bat-yin was sweating profusely and shouted, "Old ancestor, save me!" Old ancestor? Yi Tianyun didn't pay any attention to Long Bat-yin. He swung the chaotic heaven holy axe straight at Long Bat-yin. Long Bat-yin felt the danger behind him, so he quickly turned around and waved the Dragon Spring Saber in his hand to block the attack. But how could a high-grade spirit tool deal with a soul tool? The gap is not small. Ding. Under his furious slash, the Dragon Spring Saber was split into two. It was as if he was chopping a piece of bamboo, and he was also chopped into two halves. Long Baishan's eyes widened, and he opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something, but no words came out. His eyes widened and he fell to the ground, filled with unwillingness. Deep in his eyes, he was filled with regret. Ding successfully killed Long Bat-yin, gained 48,000 EXP, 2200 crazy point, falling cloud armor, middle grade spirit tool, killing soul blade, upper grade spirit tool. Ding successfully killed Long Hun Tian, gained 42,000 EXP, 2100 crazy point, heaven cloud armor, middle grade spirit tool, falling rise blade, upper grade spirit tool. Quite a lot of items were dropped. Killing a cultivator of this level would definitely require the activation of Crazy Experience mode and the activation of Lucky Halo. These level of weapons and armors don't mean much to him, but he can sell them for crazy points, so he can't waste them. They are worth thousands of crazy points. At the same time, he also collected Long Baishan's and the others' items. Apart from the system drops, the items in the real world could also be sold for money, which was double the amount of money. Just as he finished cleaning up the area, the sky suddenly became oppressive, and a black fog shrouded the entire Dragon's treasure stronghold. Who are you? At that moment, an old man appeared at the side. He was shrouded in a black fog, seemingly connected to the ground. It was an extremely strange sight. Yi Tianyun looked up at him, and detailed data immediately appeared in front of him. Old ancestor Hei Hun, peak of core condensation stage. Controls the underground Black Dragon spiritual vein. Possesses the power of the Black Dragon. Overall combat power is 210,000. Martial art, Black Dragon divine art, soul destruction palm. Weakness is the underground Black Soul Dragon vein. Breaking the connection between the Black Soul Dragon vein will reduce his strength by half. Possible drops, Black Dragon divine art, soul destruction palm, Black Dragon spiritual vein crystal. Old ancestor Hei Hun controls the underground Black Dragon spiritual vein. Dragon's treasure stronghold. No wonder there are so many treasures here, so many experts. It seems like this is to cover up the existence of the Black Dragon spiritual vein. Yi Tianyun looked at the analysis in front of him and immediately understood the ins and outs of the situation. It turns out that this Dragon's treasure stronghold is to cover up the existence of the Black Soul Dragon vein. But what is the situation of the Black Soul Dragon vein? If he doesn't know about it, he really doesn't know. I'm just passing by and saw the bandits doing evil here. I'm just enforcing justice on behalf of the heavens. Yi Tianyun looked at him. He didn't rush to attack. He just wanted to see what this guy's situation is. Enforcing justice on behalf of the heavens? In this chaotic world, it's enough to survive, but you still want to enforce justice on behalf of the heavens? Old Ancestor Heihun's face was full of disdain. He coldly snorted and said, "You're so young, but your cultivation is unfathomable. I presume your background is not small. Seeing that your cultivation is not bad, I will make you my general. I will give you endless glory, splendor, wealth and rank. Also, I will give you unimaginable cultivation, let you go one step further." "Based on what?" Lee Danyun smiled. "What proof do you have, just based on your mouth?" "Based on the black soul dragon vein under my feet." Old Ancestor Heihun didn't hide anything. His dark eyes looked at Yi Shiwen and said, "As long as you become my general, I will let you absorb the black soul dragon vein. It will greatly increase your cultivation speed. It will be several times faster than cultivating outside. When our cultivation reaches a higher level, we will establish our own sect. At that time, no one will dare to provoke us." Old Ancestor Heihun's arrogant expression had been eroded by the black soul dragon vein. He felt that having the black soul dragon vein was already invincible. "Then what do you want me to do?" Yi Tianyun asked. "Capture more cultivators, whether they are mortals or cultivators, I want them all." Old Ancestor Heihun said with a sinister smile, "Offer them to the black soul dragon vein. Only in this way, the black dragon force will be continuously produced, greatly increasing our cultivation speed." "So this is the reason why you captured so many people? Aren't you afraid of the wrath of the heavens?" Yi Tianyun's eyes were filled with killing intent. He was already a killing maniac. Whether good or bad, Old Ancestor Heihun wanted to capture them all. Wrath of the heavens? "In this place, I am the heavens. No one can escape from my control." Old Ancestor Heihun looked at him coldly. "Make your choice. If you want to become my general, take this pill." He stretched out his palm. A pitch-black pill appeared in the palm of his hand. Yi Tianyun looked at it. Using the appraisal eye, he could clearly see what it was. Black Heart Pill. After a period of time, after taking it, you will be poisoned. It will be worse than death. It turned out that this was a poison pill. In fact, it was a type of control pill. When poisoned, it will be worse than death. Only by taking the antidote can the poison be alleviated. Once the antidote is removed, you will be dead. Before dying, you will have to suffer a fate worse than death. "What if I refuse?" Yi Danyun said indifferently. "Do you think I'll let you go after telling you so many secrets? If you refuse, then I don't mind making you a tribute to the black soul dragon vein." Old Ancestor Heihun said in a deep voice. As soon as his voice fell, countless black gas emerged from the ground, wrapped around him like a pitch-black cage, tightly surrounding him. There was no way out. He never thought that there would be such a strong expert in this remote and desolate place. There would be a black soul dragon vein. It was really strange. Chapter 109. Yi Tianyun looked at the black mist surrounding him. He can't escape unless he can fly, otherwise he can't escape from here at all. But he did not panic at all. He lifted the chaotic heaven's sacred axe and slashed down at the black fog that was wrapping around him. The crazy saber light slashed forward, and a deep crack appeared on the ground. Then, the surrounding black fog was split into two by this overbearing saber light, and a gap was created. Just because of this? Yi Tianyun looked indifferent and didn't care at all. Old Ancestor Heihun's pupils shrank as he looked at the giant axe in Yi Tianyun's hand and said, "Is this a soul tool? So what if I am? So what if I am not?" Yi Tianyun said with a smile. "It seems that you have chosen not to obey me?" Old Ancestor Heihun gently stretched out his hand and the gap was quickly filled. In the blink of an eye, the black energy seemed to be endless and couldn't disappear completely. "What do you think?" Yi Tianyun put away the chaotic heaven's sacred axe, and the set effect disappeared instantly, but it was replaced by the frost fist. The cold air immediately froze the ground within 2 meters around him, forming a layer of frost. This soul tool is much stronger than the chaotic heaven's sacred axe. But the frost fist doesn't have a set effect. If it had a set effect, it would be even more heaven-defying. Another soul tool. It seems that your background is not simple, but if you think that a soul tool is invincible here, then you are too naive. Old Ancestor Heihun waved his hand, and the surrounding black energy turned into countless black dragons. one after another emerged from the ground and became taller. The power suddenly increased a lot. In that case, I will let you become the sacrifice of the black dragon's spiritual vein. In the next moment, under his control, the black energy quickly turned into several black dragons and rushed toward Yi Tianyun with an extremely oppressive energy. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed and he quickly raised his hand. A terrifying suction force instantly swept out from his palm. The black dragon's energy, which had been rushing toward him from all directions, was forcefully turned around by this super strong suction force, turning into a ball and being absorbed into his body. 4,000 experience points. This attack was absorbed into his body and turned into EXP. Under the super strong suction of the absorbing star's great technique, coupled with the Dark North divine art, this power was instantly devoured. If it was before, he wouldn't be able to do this. Only by upgrading it to an Earth-level martial art could he achieve this effect. Is this your power? Yi Tianyun said with a smile. Ancestor He Hun was shocked. Although his attack was not very strong, it was at least half of his strength. But it did not cause any harm to Yi Tianyun, and it seemed that his attack had been absorbed. Looks like you know another evil technique. I want to see how much you can devour. Ancestor He Hun roared. More than a dozen black dragons' energy quickly appeared around him. After twisting in the air, they quickly rushed toward him. In addition, countless black gas emerged from the ground and began to entangle him like a devil's hand from hell. Yi Tianyun's expression was indifferent. He did not care about the entangling black dragon's energy at all. It was as if nothing had happened. Absorbing Star's great technique. Crazy Experience Mode, activate. When the black dragon's energy entangled him, he immediately used the Absorbing Star's great technique. In the blink of an eye, the entangling power was swallowed into his body and turned into a pile of EXP, plus 16,000 EXP, plus 15,000 EXP, plus 21,000 EXP. With the increase of 4 times, Yi Tianyun suddenly felt refreshed. This was the feeling he needed. It was much faster than killing anyone else. At least for now. In the blink of an eye, the entangling black dragon's energy disappeared and nothing happened to him. Old Ancestor He Hun, who was watching from afar, was dumbfounded. He was shocked by this scene. All the energy that was released was devoured, and it seemed that nothing had happened. This power is too weak. Can it be stronger? It's really not enough to fill the gap between my teeth. Yi Tianyun said sarcastically. This sentence was undoubtedly a provocation to Ancestor He Hun and instantly angered him. I don't believe that you can devour much. How can the black dragon's energy be so easy to devour? Ancestor He Hun roared and quickly made hand seals. Countless black dragons' energy entangled him. The black cage around him was constantly squeezing him as if it wanted to flatten him. In the blink of an eye, Yi Tianyun was swallowed by the black dragon's energy. In just a moment, the black light became dimmer and dimmer. There was no doubt that Yi Tianyun was crazily devouring the black dragon's energy. Impossible! Impossible! Ancestor He Hun said angrily, I want to see how much you can devour. He roared and quickly cast the black dragon's energy. More and more black dragon's energy emerged from the ground. The entire dragon's treasure stronghold was shaking. It seems that the excessive mobilization of the energy underground has caused an earthquake. 23,000 experience points, 32,000 experience points, 33,000 experience points. His experience crazily soared and instantly reached the limit. Currently, he can only absorb about 8,000 experience points at a time. But after quadrupling, his experience points have reached 32,000. Under this crazy devouring, his experience points continue to rise. But the speed of devouring is not enough to keep up with the speed of the black dragon's energy. Ancestor He Hun has already used most of his energy, so naturally he will surpass Yi Tianyun. But this speed of devouring is useless. He is wearing a set of Chaotic Heaven Divine Armor and Chaotic Heaven Battle Boots. Coupled with the title of Guardian, his defense is off the charts. This kind of devouring can't hurt him at all. This state continues. Yi Tianyun's expression is indifferent, but in his heart he is very happy. His experience is crazily flowing in. It's much more than killing a 7th or 8th level core condensation cultivator. How can he not feel happy? For a long time, this method has been the best way to obtain experience points. But sometimes there are too many people, so he can't drain their spiritual power one by one. Therefore, when he saw this pile of energy, his eyes lit up. How could he not be happy that there was one more free experience point? Just when he thought that he can maintain this situation for a long time, suddenly a black light flashed behind him and fiercely stabbed his back. Tianyun immediately sensed the danger. He turned around and waved his hand to grab the black light. Dang! Chapter 110. Why don't you continue to release the Black Dragon Force? Tianyun shook his hand. That sword attack was not weak. If it was an ordinary person, he would have been pierced by it. Especially under the Black Dragon Force, he couldn't detect the situation around him. If it wasn't for his strength, he would have been pierced by this sword attack. Die! Old Ancestor Heihun was extremely angry. He once again waved his sword and rushed towards Tianyun. The Black Dragon Force around him drilled into his body. Suddenly, his strength skyrocketed. His combat power soared crazily. The reason why he has such strong strength is because of the Black Dragon Force. Ordinary peak core condensation cultivators have 160,000 combat power at most. But Old Ancestor Heihun's combat power has exceeded 200,000. Whether it is speed or strength, both have reached a new peak. Black Dragon Roar. The long sword in Old Ancestor Heihun's hand flashed with a black light. A black dragon mark appeared on the blade of the sword. Immediately, a black dragon mark appeared on his body. Old Ancestor Heihun felt like he turned into a black dragon and rushed towards Tianyun. The world began to tremble, and countless cracks appeared on the hard ground. More Black Dragon Force surged from the cracks and drilled into Old Ancestor Heihun's body layer by layer. Tianyun's eyes flashed. With the appraisal eye, Old Ancestor Heihun's combat power continued to rise. It has reached a high of 210,000. Strong. Very strong. Compared to all the previous opponents, he is several levels stronger. Tianyun didn't expect that the Black Dragon spiritual vein could strengthen him so much. This is not the level that ordinary peak core condensation cultivators can achieve. It is equivalent to the level of spirit core stage. Of course, no matter how strong he is, it is just a piece of cake for Tianyun. Frost Fist, activate. He used the special effect of the Frost Fist, and a terrifying frost domain exploded in the surroundings. The crazy cold air swept in all directions, and everywhere it went was frozen, including the surging Black Dragon power. It was frozen by this overbearing effect. The originally swaying energy had been frozen into a popsicle. Old Ancestor Heihun, who was rushing over, was frozen by this special effect. His whole body was frozen in place, and the power coming out of his body was also frozen on the surface. This was a heaven-defying effect. Even after the Frost Fist had been upgraded to a soul tool, it could still freeze Ancestor Black Soul. He might not be able to freeze it for too long, but even if he could only freeze it for 10 seconds, Old Ancestor Black Soul would definitely die. Not bad, you can freeze it? Tianyun smiled faintly and walked over. Old Ancestor Black Soul's expression was frozen, and he could only watch as Tianyun walked over, and he couldn't even say a word. He walked in front of Patriarch Heihun, grabbed his arm, and slammed him to the ground. With a loud bang, Patriarch Heihun was slammed to the ground. Dense cracks appeared on the ground, spreading out like a spider web. After locking Old Ancestor Black Soul, Tianyun fully activated Absorbing Star's great technique. Tens of thousands of EXP crazily poured into his body. This time, he can finally absorb it slowly, and he wants to see how long he can absorb it. If he can maintain this state, after absorbing it, he will level up several times, and that would be perfect. However, after maintaining this state for half a minute, Old Ancestor Black Soul began to loosen. Die, damn brat. I will kill you. Old Ancestor Black Soul roared, and the power of the black dragon inside his body broke out, and he wanted to shake Tianyun away. It was a humiliation to be pressed like this. Dragon God Bloodline, open. After the Dragon God Bloodline broke out, dragon scales quickly appeared on his body, and his strength was greatly increased, at least several times stronger than usual, and his combat power suddenly broke out. After the increase in strength, the power that broke out from his arms fiercely pressed down on old ancestor Black Soul, making him unable to move at all. After suppressing him, he continued to quickly absorb the spiritual power inside old ancestor Black Soul's body, and quickly withdrew it. "Bastard, let go of me, let go of me." Old ancestor Black Soul's body shook, but how could he compare with Yi Tianyun's strength? His combat power was not weak, but it did not mean that he was strong. Most of his strength relied on the power of the Black Dragon, and when he controlled the power of the Black Dragon, he was more overbearing. "Why should I let go of you and then wait for you to kill me? Do you think I am stupid?" Yi Tianyun sneered, "You have done a lot of evil things. This time I will suck you dry. Get out of my way." Old ancestor Black Soul roared angrily and madly controlled the power of the Black Dragon underground, and continued to envelop Yi Tianyun, but this devouring power could not hurt Yi Tianyun. Originally, after the Dragon God bloodline broke out, his defensive power had greatly increased, and with the addition of the Guardian title and the Chaotic Heaven Divine armor, he was simply indestructible. No matter how hard the power of the Black Dragon gnawed, it could not bite even a little bit. As Yi Tianyun absorbed more and more power, old ancestor Black Soul became weaker and weaker, and was about to be sucked dry. Let go of me, give me." Old ancestor Black Soul had no strength to struggle, and after a moment, the spiritual power in his body was completely sucked dry. "What's going on? No spiritual power. Don't you have the blessing of the Black Dragon spiritual vein? Why is your spiritual power so weak?" At this time, Yi Tianyun found that old ancestor Black Soul's body was black. It seems that he was overdrawn, and even his body was eroded by the power of the Black Dragon. Sure enough, using this power indiscriminately will cause a lot of damage to himself. This is obviously a kind of evil technique. Old ancestor Black Soul couldn't hear Yi Tianyun's words. After being sucked dry, he already fainted. In addition, he can't suppress the power of the Black Dragon. His body has been quickly eroded, and it seems that his consciousness is gradually disappearing. "It seems that I can't do it anymore. In the next life, remember to be a good person to repay all this." Yi Tianyun aimed at old ancestor He Hun's head and punched him hard. With a loud bang, old ancestor He Hun was completely killed. Ding! Successfully killed old ancestor Black Soul, gained 120,000 EXP, 3000 crazy point. Obtained Black Dragon Divine Secret Art, low-grade Earth level martial art. Soul Destruction Palm, low-grade Earth level martial art. Black Dragon Spiritual Vein Crystal, Black Dragon Skeleton. After killing old ancestor Black Soul, the things that dropped are quite rich. 2 Earth level martial art can be used to fuse proficiency. But the most special is the last 2, which made him feel a bit strange. Black Dragon Spiritual Vein Crystal, Black Dragon Skeleton, what are these? After Yi Tianyun checked, the information immediately appeared. Black Dragon Spiritual Vein Crystal, the energy crystal of the Black Dragon, can be absorbed for cultivation, suitable for cultivators who cultivate dark attribute. Black Dragon Skeleton, the skeleton of the Black Dragon, the main backbone of the Black Dragon, with blessing of the Black Dragon Soul and Black Dragon Spiritual Vein, can summon the Black Dragon. What can summon the Black Dragon? Chapter 111. If I can summon a Black Dragon as a pet, can I fly? Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. If he wanted to fly, he would need to reach the core transformation stage, which was a relatively long process. Only when he reached the core transformation stage, he would be able to fly. Therefore, it was undoubtedly a wonderful thing to have a flying demon beast. At least, it would be very convenient for him to escape and travel. But where can I get the soul of the Black Dragon? Yi Tianyun frowned. He remembered that when he investigated Ancestor He Hun's situation, he saw that the soul of the Black Dragon would drop, but he didn't expect it to drop even after activating his luck aura. It was really a pity. If my luck is good enough, or if my luck aura is upgraded, I will definitely be able to get it. But now Ancestor He Hun is dead. Yi Tianyun shook his head and felt very disappointed. If he missed this opportunity, how could he get the soul of the black dragon back? Who would be able to get the soul of the black dragon? Immediately, he didn't think too much about it. He took out all of Ancestor Heihun's items and put them into his inventory. There were many valuable things inside. Even if he couldn't fuse them to increase his proficiency, he could at least sell them for money. Ancestor Heihun is dead. Ancestor Heihun is dead. Great, Ancestor Heihun is dead. At this time, someone shouted, which attracted Yi Tianyun's attention. He looked up and saw some bandits on the side. They were shocked, and some even collapsed on the ground. Everyone had a different expression. It seems that there are still some fish that escaped the net. I have to clean them up. Yi Tianyun squinted his eyes and rushed towards them. He waved his fist and greeted them with a cold air. As long as he punched them, they would be killed instantly. Bang! At this time, they all knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. Hero, thank you for killing Ancestor Heihun and saving us. Hero, please let us go. We were forced to join the dragon's treasure stronghold. If we don't join, our families will be killed. We're just following instructions, and we've been working here all this time. We've never gone out to harm anyone. Those are all in the outer strongholds, and those in the inner strongholds are specialized in internal affairs. We can't go out. They kept kowtowing to Yi Tianyun until their foreheads started to bleed. In order to survive, they were willing to do anything. Yi Tianyun stopped and squinted at them. This kind of thing was not rare. After all, there were so many people in the village, so it was impossible for all of them to be internal members. Some of them must have been recruited from outside. For example, cooking, cleaning, and so on were definitely not done by the internal staff. They had to be recruited from outside, and they had to be dragged in by force. Whether you've done anything wrong or not, everything will be judged. If you act blindly without thinking, then don't blame me for being ruthless. At that time, will you run faster, or will my fists be faster? Yi Tianyun signaled them to gather together. He gathered all the remaining bandits and brought them outside. Outside, Lu Minglian had already rescued everyone. When she saw Yi Tianyun coming over with a group of people, her complexion suddenly changed. Young master, this is? Lu Minglian looked at the group of people behind him and was somewhat puzzled. I don't know how many of them were brought in by force. I believe some of them had no choice. So please take a look and see who can be forgiven and who can't. Yi Tianyun said to the trapped villagers. He's from our village. In order to protect us, he chose to join us. He was forced to join us. He's my husband. He was brought in by force. He's been cooking for us. He's with those bad guys. At this time, someone immediately recognized that someone had sneaked in. That person's complexion turned pale. He turned around and wanted to grab the person next to him to use as a shield. But Yi Tianyun's speed was faster. With a kick, he flew out and smashed into a distant house. There was no more movement from him. Continue. Of course, you can recognize each other and see who did what wrong. Yi Tianyun said indifferently. He's innocent. He was captured and brought in here. They all pointed out that there were a few people who tried to fish in troubled waters. After being recognized, they ran away or knelt down and begged for mercy. But Yi Tianyun didn't let them go. Because under the accusation, they have done too many evil things. Not just once or twice, but many times. After the cleanup, the entire Dragon's Treasure Village is truly destroyed. All the bandits have been cleaned up. Even if there are some who happen to be outside, they can't do anything anymore. After the death of the 3 leaders and old ancestor Heihun, the Dragon's Treasure Village has no one to rely on. Successfully completed Destroy Dragon's Treasure Village quest. Reward, 150,000 EXP, 10,000 Crazy Point, 100 Prestige Point. The quest information that popped up proved that he has completed the quest perfectly. Lu Minglian said to Tianyun, Young master, let's go back. Well, you go back first, I want to look for something here. Yi Tianyun didn't rush back, he signaled them to go back first. Lu Minglian didn't ask anything, she just nodded and said, Then I will wait for young master to come back in Gong Village. Young master, please be careful. After they all left, Yi Tianyun's attention returned to the Dragon's Treasure Village. He didn't rush to leave, naturally, He wants to explore the underground black dragon spiritual vein. He wants to see what kind of spiritual vein it is. Immediately, he came to the center of the dragon's treasure village. There is a luxurious house here. No doubt it is the place where old ancestor Hei Hun and the others live. Chapter 112. After the stone door was completely opened, a pitch-black passage came into view. There were a few lights flashing in the passage, but they were also flashing with black light. After he walked in, he immediately heard a tempting voice in his ears. Do you want great power? Do you want to become stronger? Do you want to be above everything? If you want great power, come over and accept me. I will give you the strongest power. This kind of demonic voice was really tempting, especially the power that came from the surroundings. It was a kind of incomparably powerful power, which really made people yearn for it. On the surrounding rock wall, there were black lines, like black crystals inlaid on it, which looked very beautiful. However, this beauty was filled with a strange energy. Lee Tianyun just took a glance and continued to walk in. When he went deeper, he felt that the power of the black dragon was exactly the same as the power displayed by old ancestor Hei Hun. When he walked to the end, he saw a dragon's head. However, this dragon's head had turned into a skeleton, but on the surface, it was still a dragon's head. It was surrounded by the power of the black dragon, which was enough to show that this black dragon's cultivation was not simple when it was alive. Lee Tianyun looked up, and the detailed information immediately appeared. Black dragon's head, cultivation, none, weakness, none. If killed, it is possible to obtain the black dragon's soul, the black dragon skeleton, and the black dragon's spiritual vein crystal. The black dragon's soul. Lee Tianyun's eyes lit up. Sure enough, he found it. If he could blow up this black dragon's head, then he would have a chance to obtain the black dragon's soul. Human, do you desire great power? The light inside the black dragon's head flickered. Although the head did not open its mouth to speak, it could still transmit a voice. Of course, I desire it. Isn't that obvious? Lee Tianyun was not in a hurry to blow up the black dragon's head. He planned to chat with it first. Very good, as long as you accept my fusion, you will be able to obtain great power. The black light flickered and continued, I can already feel your power. You are very powerful. If you can fuse with me, you will become even more powerful. At that time, no one will be a match for you. You will be above everyone. What about that old ancestor black soul from before? Lee Tianyun said with a faint smile, didn't he fuse with you? I don't think he's that strong. That trash is too weak. He can't withstand my power, which is why he's so weak. As long as you are strong enough, you will be able to control my power. The black light flickered as the voice continued. Is that so? What are the conditions to obtain this power? Asked Lee Tianyun. I don't need any conditions. As long as you fuse with me and keep offering sacrifices to me, I can make you stronger. Black light continued. In the later stage, even with so much EXP, he still can't level up quickly unless he has 10 times EXP card in hand, otherwise it will be really difficult to level up. Although compared to others, he is already close to exploding, but who doesn't want to be too strong? Bastard human. Hurry up and let go of me. This black light, or should be said to be the Black Dragon King, it is angry, constantly controlling the surrounding energy to roll over, but the more energy rolled over, the more the surrounding black crystals become dim. As long as it uses energy, the surrounding crystals will become dim, which is equivalent to consumption. Plus now Lee Tianyun is devouring crazily, the situation is getting worse and worse. Lee Tianyun turned a deaf ear to it, he has been devouring crazily, how can he miss this kind of experience? The Black Dragon King from the beginning to the end, it can't release much energy, the flickering light is getting weaker and weaker, it seems to be dying. Human. You win, please let me go, I know a lot of martial arts, I will teach you. The Black Dragon King began to beg for mercy, it only has the last bit of soul left, if it is gone, it will really die. Chapter 113. The Black Dragon King's energy was getting weaker and weaker, the surrounding Black Dragon power was also getting weaker and weaker, even the sound of begging for mercy was getting weaker and weaker. I beg you, human, please let me go, Don't continue to devour me. If this continues, I will definitely die. I know a lot of secrets, I know a lot of treasures. As long as you let me go, I will tell you everything. The Black Dragon King constantly begged for mercy, begging Yi Tianyun to let him go. Unfortunately, I am not interested in any of this. You want to fuse with me, nothing more than to devour me. Do you think I don't know the situation of old ancestor He Hun? It seems that his body has already been devoured. You just want to use us to give you more energy, to become your puppet and continue to offer sacrifices. One day, you will definitely be resurrected. As for when, I don't know. Yi Tianyun had already seen through its tricks. He believed that old ancestor He Hun was also aware of it, but old ancestor He Hun didn't resist and instead continued to cultivate. Because in addition to this method, other methods to enhance his cultivation were too slow, it was impossible for him to break through, so old ancestor He Hun had no choice but to continue to cultivate. The Black Dragon King used their bodies to seize their bodies. This was impossible. The process was extremely difficult and risky. He could only rely on devouring sacrifices to constantly enhance his own energy, and then he would be able to be reborn. Legend has it that once he reached the Saint King stage, he would be able to regenerate his body. For this reason he has been desperately cultivating. Devouring sacrifices to cultivate, this was a very ruthless thing. No one knew how many sacrifices he would need to devour to reach the Saint King stage. It was possible that he would not be able to break through to the Saint King stage even if he devoured the sacrifices. Whether or not he could reach the Saint King stage, the Black Dragon King didn't care. He could only continue to fight. No matter how many people died, he didn't care. I don't need you to do this, I just need you to let me go. The Black Dragon King whispered for mercy. No, you killed so many people, it's time to pay the price. Yi Tianyun snorted coldly, feeling that it was enough. He pinched the Black Dragon King fiercely. I curse you to never be reincarnated. With a scream, the Black Dragon's skull was crushed by Yi Tianyun, including the black light inside. Ding. Successfully killed Black Dragon King's soul, rewarding 10,000 EXP 5,000 crazy point. He has obtained the Black Dragon's soul and the Black Dragon's spirit vein crystal. After killing it, he successfully obtained the Black Dragon's soul and an additional Black Dragon spirit vein crystal. At this time, the Black Dragon power in the surroundings had completely disappeared, returning to its original color. The Black Dragon King had extended its power to cover the entire dragon's treasure stronghold, so that it could devour others. However, it did not devour them all at once. Instead, it used them as nourishment, devouring them bit by bit instead of devouring them all at once. Only then would he be able to increase his strength bit by bit. Who knew that it would be sucked dry by Yi Tianyun? First, old ancestor He Hun absorbed a lot of the Black Dragon's power, causing it to disappear in a short time. Not bad, the Black Dragon's soul dropped. Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. Finally, the Black Dragon's soul dropped this time. If he couldn't even get this, then it would be really bad. Rumble. At this time, the surrounding began to tremble, which made Yi Tianyun's eyebrows raised, his figure flashed and ran to the surface. When he just ran outside, the underground passage began to collapse. The entire dragon's treasure stronghold collapsed in a blink of an eye, as if it was hit by an earthquake. I almost couldn't escape. Yi Tianyun wiped his sweat. If he was any slower, he would be buried under the ground. After calming down, he took out the Black Dragon's soul, Black Dragon spirit vein crystal, and the Black Dragon skeleton. When he gathered them together, the option to fuse them appeared. He did not hesitate to click on the fusion button, and immediately the three things quickly fused together. After a moment, a black light soared into the sky, and when the black light gradually disappeared, what appeared in front of him was a black dragon more than 3 meters high. Its whole body was covered with black scales, huge wings on its back, sharp dragon claws, and a huge dragon head. All these prove that it is a real black dragon, not just a skeleton. Black dragon. Cultivation level 1 core condensation. The scales on its body are comparable to a low-grade soul tool, indestructible. The claws are comparable to a low-grade soul tool, indestructible. Potential, level 5. As the cultivation gets stronger, the body will become bigger and bigger. and the flame it spits out is enough to melt everything. So strong. Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up, especially the potential of the level 5. One must know that the Snow Wolf's potential is only level 2, according to the rules here, the potential is level 10. But reaching the level 10 potential, what kind of monster is that? The black dragon is a dragon, but it only has level 5 potential. The higher the potential, the higher the growth value, whether it is strength or speed. When the cultivation level increases, there will be a significant enhancement. In fact, it is defined as talent. The stronger the talent, the stronger the power. The black dragon roared at him, then leaned over and rubbed its huge dragon head on his body, showing its intimacy. This black dragon is not the previous black dragon king. The two have nothing to do with each other. It is a newly summoned pet. Okay, from now on, you are my pet. Hang with me, I guarantee you will have a good life. Yi Tianyun smiled, reached out and stroked its body, then immediately sat on it and gently patted its body. The black dragon roared. It seems to be expressing its willingness. Yi Tianyun smiled, feeling very satisfied. Another powerful pet, as long as it is cultivated, it will become a big helper. He now lacks this. The more helpers the better, so his strength will be stronger. Immediately, he began to sort out the spoils of war. He obtained a lot of earth-level martial arts, temporarily sold all the things, turned into a pile of crazy points. Originally, he wanted to integrate it, but he felt that the Dark North Divine Art has reached intermediate earth level. It is not necessary for the time being, at least it is enough for now. After selling the Black Dragon Divine Art, he opened the property bar. Everything appeared in front of him. Player, Yi Tianyun level 30, 10th level core condensation, EXP, crazy point, 138728 prestige, 230 cultivation technique, Dark North Divine Art, Dragon God Secret Art, Xian Tian Divine Art Martial Arts, Absorbing Stars Great Technique, Blood Fiend Soaring Heaven Weapon, Frost Fist, Blood Fiend Divine Spear, Sword of Endlessness, Chaotic Heaven Sacred Axe Armor, Snow Wolf Battle Boots, Divine Armor, Shadow Cloak, Chaotic Heaven Divine Armor, Chaotic Heaven Battle Boots Divine Ability, Crazy Mode, Luck Aura Bloodline, Dragon God Bloodline Decoration, Forging God Hammer, Power Bracelet, Power Ring, Power Belt, Blood Fiend Bracelet. All items, 18 Recovery Medicinal Pill, 5 Double EXP Pill, Gift Pack LV31, Life X1, Bad Luck Divine Pill Treasure, Purple Fire Divine Furnace Title, Guardian Flame, Immortal Fire. When he saw the experience required for the next level, he took a deep breath. 5 million, how long will it take to reach it? Forget it, I can only take it step by step. Let's go back. It's not good to let Sister Xiao Lian wait for a long time. Yi Tianyun nodded, sat on the black dragon and said, let's go back. Chapter 114. With the astonishing speed of the black dragon, he arrived near the Gong village in the blink of an eye. Then he landed and put away the black dragon. This black dragon must not be seen by others, otherwise it would be a very troublesome matter. Scaring them was not a big deal, but if it was spread out, then he would be in great trouble. The black dragon was a kind of dragon race. Every part of its body was a treasure, and the third-grade forces would soon be eyeing this black dragon. At that time, it was not impossible for them to forcibly seize this black dragon, so he had to be careful. Moreover, if he kept it just like the Snow Wolf, he could use it as a trump card and suddenly summon it for a sneak attack. This was a big killer move. After adjusting his state of mind, Yi Tianyun walked into the Gong village. The Gong village was now in a festive mood. But with joy comes sorrow. Some people were captured and never came back. Without a doubt, they were dead. For bandits, these people's lives were simply not lives. They could be slaughtered at will, abused at will, and finally, after they died, their corpses were disposed of. His vicious and merciless methods were mostly to serve as a warning to the others, so that the others who were captured would know whose orders they should obey. Young Hero Yi is back. When Yi Tianyun just entered the village entrance, people immediately noticed him and came over with tears of gratitude. Some people even knelt down and kowtowed to Yi Tianyun, which made Yi Tianyun hurriedly signal them to get up, but they did not listen and kowtow to him. Young Hero Yi, Don't stop us. If not for you, we would have died in that dragon's treasure stronghold. We don't have anything to give you, so we can only ask you to accept our kowtow. We can only give you so much gratitude. That's right, so in any case, please accept our kowtow. If you don't accept our kowtow, then you are looking down on us. The whole village knelt down, even Lu Minglian knelt down. There was no other meaning, this was her hometown. Yi Tunyun had saved the entire village, which was equivalent to saving her, so she also knelt down to worship him. Young master, please accept our kowtow. We have nothing to give you. We can only give you this insignificant kowtow to express our gratitude. Lu Minglian said. Yi Tunyun felt helpless and could only accept this bow. Since they had already said so, if he didn't let them bow, he would really be looking down on them. After bowing, they all stood up, still filled with endless gratitude. They would never forget this kindness. In their most desperate moment, Yi Tunyun appeared and saved them. Naturally, he was like a second parent to them. The rest of the village was in a state of celebration. They had obtained a lot of valuable things from the dragon's treasure stronghold, which made their situation slightly better. Therefore, they were able to celebrate. He slaughtered all the remaining rice, noodles, chickens, and ducks at home and made a sumptuous meal. Yi Tunyun felt the atmosphere and smiled as well. He threw himself into the party. Happy times were always short. After the party was over, it was time to leave. Yi Tunyun helped Lu Minglian's father to heal his leg injury. He was able to get out of bed and walk. There was nothing else for him to do. It was impossible for them to move out. They relied on the mountains to survive. They had always been farming. Therefore, Yi Tunyun did not try to persuade them to leave. The dragon's treasure stronghold had been destroyed. This place was undoubtedly safe. Whether there would be other bandits in the future, it was unknown. However, he had passed down basic mortal-level martial arts to some talented youngsters. Their future achievements would depend on themselves. Shalian, young Master Yi is a good person. He has already reached the standard of becoming my son-in-law. Old Lu was very satisfied with Yi Tunyun, but he also felt that his daughter was a good match for him. Father, don't talk nonsense. How can I be a good match for young master? When Lu Minglian said these words, the light in her beautiful eyes slightly dimmed. She was a bit disappointed. There is no such thing as a good match. Is my daughter not a good match for him? Old Lu smiled and said, Xiao Lian, it is already a great honor for us to have you join Jade Palace. Cultivate hard. There is no one who is not a good match for you. Lu Minglian's eyes were red. She knew that her father was encouraging her to work hard and not be too discouraged. Father, I will work hard. Lu Minglian nodded firmly. Well, you are becoming more and more like your mother. If only your mother was still here. She would be able to see our daughter become successful. She would be able to stand on her own. Old Lu's eyes were also red. Father. After the father and daughter had a good talk, they were reluctant to part. Young master, let's go. Lu Minglian came over. Her face was full of smile, like a beautiful crabapple, blooming so beautiful. Sister Xiao Lian, you seem to be in a good mood. Yi Tunyun smiled. Of course it's good. Of course I'm in a good mood now that one of my worries has been resolved, Lu Minglian said with a smile. Is that so? Yi Tunyun touched his nose. This is indeed a big deal. Then let's go to Wind City now. We need to buy a batch of materials. Then, Lu Minglian looked at Yi Tunyun's back, and her beautiful eyes were a little bit more brilliant. After a while, they arrived at Tianfeng City. Yi Tunyun came here to earn Crazy Point. He has no other thoughts. He has a lot of Crazy Point now, but for him, it's still too little. There are too many divine skills that need to be upgraded. He can use up 100 million Crazy Point in an instant. Returning to Rain Pavilion, the familiar scene reminded him of the situation some time ago. The opposite Wind Pavilion is gone. It has been replaced by Rain Pavilion. The whole building was bought by the Heavenly Rain Building. Everything had changed so quickly. The forces that were originally hostile to them had already been destroyed. When Yi Tunyun stepped into the Heavenly Rain Building, some of the guards recognized him, and they were stunned, and their eyes were glued to Yi Tunyun. Yi Tunyun? After a while, they recovered, one of them hurriedly ran upstairs to find someone. There is no doubt that the person they found is Ziyue. Ziyue hurriedly ran down from the upstairs. Her face was full of panic, and when she saw Yi Tianyun, her eyes were quickly filled with a complex look. Recalling the little things that happened before, everything changed too fast. The most important thing is that she didn't protect Yi Tianyun. Now when they meet again, she always feels embarrassed and guilty. Pavilion Master Z, long time no see. Yi Tianyun smiled. He didn't feel embarrassed, he waved and said hello. He knew Ziyue's difficulties at the time. She didn't have much power to intervene in that kind of thing. But in the end, she can remind him to escape. It's already the best she can do. She can't run with him, right? So he won't blame Ziyue, but one thing is certain, there will not be a deep relationship with Rain Pavilion, it will only be a cooperative relationship. Since she didn't stand up to help him, it can only be a cooperative relationship. At that time, he can already forge high-grade spirit tools. It shocked the entire Rain Pavilion, but Rain Pavilion didn't choose to protect him. It proves that for them, it's not worth it. Chapter 115. Because Ziyue and Yi Tianyun have a good relationship, so the headquarters of Rain Pavilion will certainly let Ziyue continue to maintain her position as Pavilion Master, or even give her more power so that she can fully assist Yi Tianyun. But this is meaningless. Yi Tianyun's strength has reached the point where he can suppress Wind Pavilion. He doesn't need Wind Pavilion's help at all. Helping him now is just icing on the cake, not sending charcoal in snowy weather. The meaning is completely different. Yi Gongzi, you're here? Ziyue doesn't know what to say. She thought Yi Tianyun will never come again. Well, I came here to buy some materials. I don't know if there is a discount? Yi Tianyun smiled. Yes, there is. There must be a discount, even free. Ziyue quickly replied. That's not necessary, just sell it to me at the normal price. Yi Tianyun smiled faintly and followed Ziyue to buy refining materials. After looking around, he asked, there is no material for refining soul tool here? Soul tool material? Her beautiful eyes widened. The elder behind her also widened his eyes. This is a bit unbelievable. Asking this question, it is very likely that Yi Tianyun is already able to refine soul tools. How old is he? Has already reached this level? Yes, I don't know if there is. Yi Tianyun asked. There is no. Wind Pavilion doesn't have this kind of material, but if you want, you can go outside to buy it, but it will take a long time. Ziyue slowly said. To be able to refine a soul tool, at least a 5th level blacksmith, but the success rate is too low. Basically only a blacksmith master can refine a soul tool. Wind Pavilion doesn't have a blacksmith master, so soul tool material is useless. It is already very good to have a blacksmith who can refine a spirit tool, let alone a blacksmith master. That's the level of a 3rd level force or above. Alright then, I'll just buy some materials. Yi Tianyun had no choice but to give up. This was the level of this region. It wasn't rich in resources. Only regions with 3rd rank forces and above would be more developed. Sects were not established randomly, but according to the surrounding environment. The good places had already been occupied by powerful forces. It was simply not their turn to occupy them. After that, Yi Tianyun chose some materials. They were all materials that could be used to refine supreme-grade spiritual weapons. This was already very shocking. Take them all out. I want as much as you have. Yi Tianyun said in a rich and overbearing manner. Okay, no problem. Ziyue immediately sent someone to fetch the materials. After taking stock, Yi Tianyun felt somewhat disappointed. There weren't many of them, only 20 to 30 of them could be made. It's not that Wind Pavilion doesn't have enough resources, it's just that they don't have a lot of resources. Materials that can be used to refine spirit tools are relatively rare in this area. That's it? Yi Tianyun asked. Yes, that's it for the time being, but we can transfer it from the headquarters. Ziyue hurriedly added. That's fine, no matter how many you have, bring it to me, including medicinal pellets. The higher the grade, the more I want. However, I might not have enough money, but I can refine a batch of goods for you. You have to give me 2 sets of materials to refine a weapon. How about that? Yi Tianyun said, this includes supreme-grade spiritual weapons and 4th-grade medicinal pellets. Do you want to do this business? Hearing this news, They were all shocked, and their hearts were rolling like a storm. This business is really a good deal. Its equivalent to 3 parts of materials is equivalent to a supreme-grade weapon. For them, this is already very attractive. Some people who can refine supreme-grade spiritual weapons need to fail more than 4 or 5 times, but he only needs 2 parts of materials as payment. It's really a good deal. The same is true for medicinal pellets. Needless to say, the quality of 4th-grade medicinal pellets need at least a 4th-grade alchemist to be able to refine them, so the payment is quite cost-effective. No problem. Ziyue nodded and said, "Well, if that's the case, I will temporarily purchase this batch of materials. You can transport the rest to Jade Palace for me to refine, and when I'm done, you can send someone to pick up the goods." Yi Tianyun said indifferently, "How many do you have? I don't reject anyone." With the money he has now, he can only temporarily buy this batch of materials, and this is the only batch of materials he has. If he wants to refine more in the future, there is no doubt that he won't be able to afford it. After all, this time he didn't choose to sell the weapons, but chose to exchange them for Crazy Point. "That's fine. Young Master Yi can keep this batch of materials first. We will send them to you when we return." Ziyue was very excited. This business is quite big. It means that they can have a lot of supreme-grade spiritual weapons and 4th-grade medicinal pellets in the future. These are quite valuable things. How can she not be excited? "Well, that's about it. This is the payment for you," Tianyun said and waved his hand. "Piles of gold piled up here. It looks very dazzling. These are all dropped from killing monsters. He has never used them. Originally, he planned to exchange them for Crazy Point. After looking at the ratio, it's not worth it at all. 100 gold taels to get 1 Crazy Point. This thing is really worthless." After Ziyue and the others accepted, it's time for Yi Tianyun to leave. At this time Ziyue wanted to say something, but she didn't say it. She can only sigh deeply. He left so quickly, he didn't stay at all. How can he build a good relationship? But she didn't say a word. She didn't say a word. "Master Yi, please wait." At this time, the elder next to him shamelessly stopped him. "What's the matter?" Yi Tianyun looked at him and said, "Last time, our Heavenly Rain building did not do a good job. In fact, we all wanted to help, but Heavenly Rain building's foundation is relatively weak, so please forgive us." This elder was actually the one who had tried to dissuade Ziyue earlier, telling her not to say anything, let alone help. In the end, Ziyue said something. He glared at her fiercely, blaming her for doing so. Now it seems that she is the stupid one. "Oh, so you are talking about that matter. I don't care." Yi-Yun really doesn't care. He smiled casually and said, "If there is nothing else, then I will leave first." "About the position of guest elder?" The elder hurriedly asked. "Guest elder, I promised to be your guest elder before, and now I am still a guest elder." Yi Tianyun smiled. The elder was happy, but immediately added, "But I don't think I will have time to come here in the future. I am a guest elder. I am sorry about this." After saying that, he smiled at Ziyue, turned around and left, not staying even a step. The elder's face paled. This is almost like a disguised refusal to become a guest elder. He won't come in the future. What is the point of being a guest elder? Pavilion Master Z, hurry up and persuade him. Aren't you on good terms with him? The elder was very anxious. "Elder, he has already given me enough face by coming here to buy things again. Do you really think that Heavenly Rain building is the only place in such a big place? Sometimes, a missed opportunity is a missed opportunity. No matter what you do, there is no way to make up for it." Ziyue sighed deeply. This is why she did not let Yi Tianyun stay. Coming here to buy things was already giving him enough face, otherwise he would not have stepped half a step in. The elder's intestines were green with regret. Weak foundation is bullshit. If it really protected Yi Tianyun, there was no problem. Not to mention anything else, at least it could protect him temporarily, but at that time, they immediately cut all ties, not providing any protection at all. Is this the treatment of a guest elder? Chapter 116. Yi Tianyun and Lu Minglian quickly returned to Jade Palace. There was no problem during the whole process. In this area, Yi Tianyun's side is already the biggest force. Even second-level faction doesn't dare to provoke them easily. 3 major forces have been destroyed, and even uprooted. So far, no second-level faction has this kind of ability. Therefore, in a sense, although Jade Palace is not a second-level faction, but it has surpassed most second-level faction and become close to the existence of third-level faction. But this is just close. The power of third-level faction is far from comparable to second-level faction. Any random grade 3 force could easily crush a grade 2 force without the slightest pressure. Because to become a third-level faction, at least 3 or more Spirit Core Realm powerhouses and more than 10 Core Condensation Realm powerhouses are needed to meet the requirements of third-level faction. This is just the initial requirement. Of course, the number of powerful third-level faction is far more than this number. Even Core Transformation Realm cultivators are possible. If you want to become a fourth-level faction, the requirements are even more terrifying, but they have never been in this area, so they don't have any information. Next is to complete the main quest. With so many medicinal pills, I don't believe that I can't create a second-level faction. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed. Third-level faction is too difficult, but second-level faction is not a problem for him. Young master, we are about to return to Jade Palace, Lu Minglian said with a smile. Yi Tianyun nodded. After a while, they returned to Jade Palace, but they didn't go back to the gate. From a distance, they could see several luxurious feather carriages parked in front of the gate, and several restless giant eagles walking around, leaving deep footprints on the snow. This is a giant eagle? Lu Minglian exclaimed. She was shocked by this giant eagle. Yi Tianyun squinted at these luxurious feather carriages, and this giant eagle has the cultivation of 8th level Spirit Refinement Realm. It is relatively easy to tame a demon beast. Their greatest use was naturally their ability to fly. When they dragged a few carriages, their speed was many times faster than a horse carriage. As the name suggested, the feather carriage was filled with feathers and carved with divine runes, making the entire carriage light and sturdy. Looks like a certain faction has arrived. To be able to afford this feather carriage, it was definitely not an ordinary force. At the very least, a grade 2 force did not have this ability. Just a giant eagle alone was extremely expensive, and it was not something that could be measured with gold. Immediately, he quickly rushed back to Jade Palace with Lu Minglian, and as soon as he got back, he heard people talking inside. Palace Lord Shi, please think about it carefully. As long as you join our profound Azure Mansion and become our subsidiary, you will be able to get a lot of benefits. We can even make you a branch of ours. In this sense, you're already equivalent to a third-grade faction. You can do whatever you want here. The voice that came was very arrogant, high and mighty. Although the content seemed to be discussing plans, it was more of a more forceful transaction. Inspector Gu, I'm sorry, our Jade Palace does not want to become a subsidiary of your mansion for the time being. The current situation of Jade Palace, we all hope to maintain the original state, to maintain the foundation passed down by the old ancestor. Shi Shuiyun politely refused. Inspector Gu frowned. There were not many people coming, a total of 3 people, but each of them was at core condensation. Among them, Inspector G's cultivation has reached 7th level core condensation, which is as strong as Shi Shuiyun. Although his cultivation is the same, but he is stronger than Shi Shuiyun. As the inspector of Qingshen Mansion, the martial arts he cultivates is certainly not low. Earth-level martial arts is extremely rare in second-grade faction, but in third-grade faction, the quantity is slightly higher, so it is not so scarce. Are you sure you want to refuse the invitation of a third-grade faction? Inspector Gu was extremely dissatisfied. Others can't even beg for this invitation. We came here because we think highly of you. If you don't have our help, it is basically impossible for you to become a second-grade faction. Shi Shuiyun raised her eyebrows. This is a bit too much. They can now see the future of Jade Palace. As long as they continue like this, they will certainly become a second-grade faction. It is not difficult at all. When she was just about to speak, Yi Tianyun's voice has already interrupted. I don't know why is it impossible? Yi Tianyun walked in with Lu Minglian, looking at Inspector Gu. Sure enough, the stronger forces are all high and mighty, they simply look down on them. But the gap between the two is really huge. There are more than 10 core condensation cultivators, and even more spirit core cultivators. How can a second-grade faction compare? Inspector Gu frowned and looked at him. He is very dissatisfied with his sudden interruption. Palace Lord Shi, are these your people? It's not polite to butt in. When Shi Shuiyun saw Yi Tianyun came in, she smiled knowingly and immediately said to Inspector Gu, "He is the elder of Jade Palace. He is qualified to discuss this matter." Elder of Jade Palace? Inspector Gu frowned. He doesn't believe it. At such a young age he can sit in the position of elder? They just heard that Jade Palace is not bad, but they didn't fully understand the situation, so they don't know the situation of Yi Tianyun. "Yes, I am the fourth elder of Jade Palace. I don't know why you said we can't promote to second-grade faction?" Yi Tianyun said indifferently, "I believe that it will not be long before we can promote to second-grade faction. This is not difficult." Yi Tianyun doesn't have a good impression of Qingxian Mansion. When the three major factions attacked, Qingxian Mansion completely cut off all relations. They will not help at all. At that time, he has already blacklisted Qingxian Mansion, although he didn't want to get involved. But since he chose to give up, now that Jade Palace is strong enough, they come to try to rope him in. Anyone would feel disgusted. Inspector Gu is a bit unhappy with Yi Tianyun. Even if it is promoted to second-grade faction, the gap with third-grade faction is too big. If you want more resources, you have to join us. Our Qingxian Mansion has a lot of talented disciples. With your disciple combined, the bloodline born will definitely not be bad. Moreover, this is not the first marriage, but this time we are completely merged. We are not separated from each other. The power is bigger. There will not be any faction that will trouble you. Is that so? When the three major factions attacked, why didn't you help us? And now you want us to join? Yi Tianyun said coldly. Chapter 117. Qingxian Mansion chose not to support them when they were besieged by the three major forces. Inspector G's face sank. He didn't feel embarrassed about this question, but he was a bit contemptuous. At that time, they didn't choose to support them, because the three major forces said that they will become subordinates of Qingxian Mansion in the future, so they will definitely choose to support them. They didn't expect the three major forces to be defeated, which made them re-evaluate Jade Palace. They didn't expect that a Jade Palace with only female cultivators would have such a strong force. There is nothing to say about this. At that time, you were too weak, so we abandoned you. Now that your strength is up to the standard, you can join us. Inspector Gu said solemnly, "If you want to join us, you are not qualified to join us if you are too weak. Now that your strength is up to the standard, you can join us. Don't you even know this rule? If your strength is too weak, do you think we will accept you? Don't be too naive. You are not a 3-year-old child anymore." His skin was just that thick. He spoke the truth and did not try to hide it at all. If your strength is too low, you will be abandoned. Survival of the fittest. This is the principle. Inspector Ji's words didn't surprise Yi Tianyun. This answer is normal, he just asked. "Of course I understand this, but you are not qualified to join us if you are too weak. Don't confuse it with abandonment, thank you." Yi Tianyun responded, "We want to be self-reliant. We don't want to join any sect. We want to rely on our own strength to support the entire Jade Palace. Many sects have their own rules. Those who are too weak can't join, and those who are too weak can't join. Basically the same principle. But they were abandoned, and now they still want to join. This is unreasonable." Yi Tianyun's words made the elders' eyes light up. They need this kind of words. If they are abandoned, they absolutely won't join. Self-reliant is good. There is no need to join the sect that abandoned them. Jade Palace and Qingxian Mansion have a good relationship. Many disciples have successfully married with disciples of Qingxian Mansion, but in the end, they simply ignore this relationship and choose to abandon them. Strictly speaking, it couldn't be considered as abandonment. After all, the two of them hadn't gotten together yet, but their relationship wasn't bad. If even this didn't help them, then there was no way that they would choose to join. Pa. Inspector Gu applauded and looked at them contemptuously. What a self-reliant, supporting the entire Jade Palace by yourself. Do you think you're strong just because you've defeated 3 small second-rank forces? Any random third-grade force can annihilate all of you. All the elders were expressionless as they stared at him coldly. Could this be considered a threat? Any third-rank force can destroy us. But as long as we don't provoke them, nothing will happen to this remote place. Shi Shuiyun said calmly. Very good. Looks like you're refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Inspector G's eyes were filled with murderous intent. Then I won't waste any more time with you. We, the Profound Azure Mansion, want to control this area, so we need a sect that has absolute say in this area, and you are a very suitable sect. Now I'll give you a choice. Either you absolutely obey us so you can not only live, but also get more resources, or you can completely disappear from this world. Finally, after a lot of gentle talk, and after a lot of refusal, the dagger was revealed. The aura of the three instantly surged. All of them are at 7th or 8th level of core condensation, and this is only a part of the power of Qingshen Mansion, not all of it. Elder's face changed. When they felt this aura, they couldn't help but step back a few steps. This aura is too strong. It's the same level as those old ancestors. His cultivation was lower than those old ancestors, but the aura that burst out of him was stronger than those old ancestors. The reason is very simple. This group of people are young enough, have more treasures, and cultivate more powerful martial arts. Yi Tianyun looked at them indifferently, using appraisal eye to show their status. Inspector Gu, 7th level of core condensation, wearing best grade spiritual armor, combat power 160,000. Weakness is wood attribute, can be restrained. Possible drops: Transforming Heaven Palm, low grade earth level martial art, Netherworld Step, low grade earth level martial art. Inspector Fong, all three of their data appeared in front of Yi Tianyun. Without using their martial art and weapons, their combat power has reached 160,000. If they take out their weapons, their combat power will definitely reach 180,000, or even 200,000. Sure enough, the level of a 3rd grade force is much higher than those old ancestors of 2nd grade forces. It seems that from the beginning, you have this idea. Shi Shuiyun said coldly. That's right, no matter what, you have to surrender to us. There's no other choice but to die. Originally, those 3 forces were going to merge into one force to help us rule this area, but I didn't expect you to wipe them out. I really didn't expect that your Jade Palace would have this kind of ability. It's really unexpected. Inspector Goose sneered. If you refuse, then unfortunately I will choose other forces, but from today onwards, Jade Palace will be destroyed. It will no longer exist. It seems that you are very confident that you can wipe out our Jade Palace? Shi Shuiyun expression is indifferent, without the slightest fear. During this time, her cultivation also advanced by leaps and bounds, breaking through to 8th level core condensation in one fell swoop. Inspector Gu squinted at her and smiled. I know that you have a helper. It should be a peak core condensation cultivator, or even a strong cultivator who just broke through to spirit core realm. Our guess is that it was either your ancestor or some other helper. Otherwise, how could the 3 great forces be destroyed so easily? In that case, hurry up and call him out. Let us see how strong he is. Several elders look weird. The person who destroyed the 3 forces is right in front of them. It seems that they don't know that Yi Tianyun is the strong cultivator who killed the 3 forces. They only heard that there is a super strong cultivator who helped destroy the 3 forces. But who is it? They are not sure. At least they don't think Yi Tianyun is the super strong cultivator. He looks too young. Shi Shuiyun is already very heaven-defying. It's impossible that Yi Tianyun is also so heaven-defying, right? After waiting for a while, the person didn't appear at all. Where is he, hiding and not daring to come out? Or have they already left this place? Inspector Goose smiled contemptuously and said, looks like you're hiding in the dark like a coward. Otherwise, you wouldn't be so confident. Let me repeat myself. Either you surrender to us and obey our orders, or you will be completely obliterated. Of course, Palace Lord sure has to go back with us. Our Mansion Lord specifically asked you to stay. With your talent, it's a very good choice to be our Mansion Lord's concubine. The offspring will definitely be a strong cultivator. Just as he finished speaking, a figure suddenly burst out and appeared in front of him in the blink of an eye. Pa! His whole body was sent flying by a slap. A large part of his face was swollen, his teeth were scattered on the ground, and his mouth was full of blood. Isn't your Mansion Lord a pig? Is he qualified to marry my aunt as a concubine? Damn it, let him go mate with other sows. Chapter 118. After slapping Inspector Gu, Lee Tianyun couldn't help but curse. Wanting to marry Shi Shuiyun as a concubine was an insult to him. He couldn't even marry her as his legal wife, let alone a concubine. The status of a concubine was already low enough, and this was a great insult to him. Inspector Gu was stunned by the slap, and he didn't even have time to react. He had been vigilant from the beginning, but he didn't expect that he couldn't be faster than this slap. The other two were dumbfounded. They didn't even have time to react, and Inspector Gu was sent flying by the slap. As soon as he said he would make a move, he did it without any hesitation. The three elders behind him were dumbfounded, but it wasn't unexpected. The other party had been forced to this point, and if they were in his shoes, they would also want to make a move. However, Tianyun's attack was too fast, unbelievably fast. How dare you insult our mansion master with such strength? Kill them. Inspector Gu slapped the ground and jumped up. He quickly pulled out a top-grade spiritual sword, and when he was ready to fight, Lee Tianyun rushed over and slapped him again, sending him flying again. Kill who? Lee Tianyun looked at him coldly. You're quite arrogant, saying that your mansion master is a pig, and praising him. I feel that he's worse than a pig. Just because he has some ability, he thinks he's powerful? Inspector Gu was slapped again, and all his teeth were gone. His mouth was full of blood, and it looked terrifying. Qing Xian Mansion won't let you off. Slap. Qing Xian Mansion won't let you off? Slap. Inspector Gu was slapped again, and he didn't even have the strength to fight back. The speed and strength were too strong, and 2 or 3 slaps were enough to make him dizzy, and he didn't have the strength to fight back. The other 2 inspectors rushed over to help, but Shi Shuiyun quickly intercepted them and blocked them. An extremely cold aura collided with them, and both of them were pushed back. Pa pa pa. At this time, applause came from outside. A middle-aged man came in from outside and looked at them with a smile. You're worthy of being called a young hero. You have such cultivation at such a young age. You must be at core condensation stage 8th or 9th level, right? How can your Jade Palace have a male elder with such a strong cultivation? I don't know where he got this helper from, but he looks pretty good. The middle-aged man who walked in had a smile on his face. Judging from his attire, it was obvious that he was from the Qing Xian Mansion. Elder Wei, Elder Wei. Inspector Gu hurriedly got up, but he looked rather disheveled, and his speech was unclear. Lee Tianyun looked up and the appraisal eyes quickly displayed detailed data. Elder Wei, 2nd level of Spirit Core stage, wearing low-grade Soul Tool armor, Exploding Claw, mid-grade Earth level martial art, Dragon Cloud Step, low-grade Earth level martial art, etc. Overall combat power, 280,000. Its weakness was that it excelled in close combat, and long-range attacks could disrupt its formation. Possible drops: Exploding Claw, Dragon Cloud Step, 280,000 combat power, 2nd level of Spirit Core stage. Even without the appraisal eyes, everyone can feel the oppressive power. The entire hall was shrouded by this power. They didn't even get close to the hall, but they already felt the pressure doubled. Shi Shuiyun's face slightly changed. Sure enough, they came prepared. The 3 major forces were eliminated, so it's impossible for 3 people to destroy the entire Jade Palace. No wonder Inspector Gu was so arrogant. He wanted to force the so-called strong man hiding in the dark to come out, and then come out to attack. But now, the so-called strong man hasn't come out yet, but Elder Wei has already been forced to come out. Elder Wei looked at Lee Tianyun, raised his hand and said, if you have the ability, why don't you try to slap him again? He released all his power, just to let everyone know that his cultivation has reached 2nd level of Spirit Core stage. Mou and Great Elder's face turned ugly. Although they were prepared for this, but when the real strong man of Spirit Core stage came out, their hearts skipped a beat, and they felt the pressure doubled. Looking at Lee Tianyun, can they still deal with him? For them, Spirit Core stage is a legendary existence. So many old ancestors have spent their whole life to break through to Spirit Core stage. They all pin their hope on Shi Shuiyun, only she has the chance to break through to Spirit Core stage. Of course, now there is Lee Tianyun, but he hasn't broken through to Spirit Core stage. How can they deal with him? Inspector Gu felt that with Elder Wei's support, he arrogantly looked at Elder Wei with disdain, thinking that with Elder Wei's help, who would dare to touch him? Touching him is equal to not giving face to Elder Wei. He is a strong man of spirit core stage. Come on, weren't you very arrogant just now? If you have the ability, then continue to hit me. Inspector Gu turned his face to the side, signaling Yi Tianyun to hit him. Pa! A crisp sound echoed in the hall. Inspector Gu was once again sent flying by the slap. After rolling several times, he coughed up a mouthful of blood. I have seen cheap people, but I have never seen such a cheap person. If you want me to hit you, then I will satisfy your wish. Tianyun waved his hand, his eyes were full of contempt. This slap is really equivalent to slapping Elder Wei's face. The other elders are stunned. Facing a strong spirit core stage, how can he be so confident? Very good, it seems that you are quite brave. No matter who you are, you will die today. Elder Wei fiercely stomped on the ground, and a large piece of the hard ground cracked, like a dense spider web, spread out in all directions. In the next moment, it sprinted over at an extremely fast speed. It was like a gust of wind, or more like a soaring wind dragon, whistling as it charged over. Earth-level martial art, Dragon Cloud Steps. It is unbelievably fast, they can't even see it clearly, even Shi Shuiyun can only see an afterimage. This is too fast, he didn't even use his full strength, but the power that burst out from his body has completely crushed them. While sprinting towards Yi Tianyun, his eyes were full of killing intent. He opened his big hand to grab Yi Tianyun's head, his eyes were full of killing intent. Tianyun. Shi Shuiyun didn't hesitate at all, her white dress fluttered slightly, and the next moment she flashed in front of Yi Tianyun, blocking the attack for him. The palace treasure burst out, the extreme cold surged out crazily, forming a domain in front of them that can freeze everything. Insignificant skill, get out of my way. Elder Wei's palm turned into a sharp claw, and with a twatch sound, the whole domain was torn apart, as if it was a piece of paper, without any difficulty. This palm that turned into a sharp claw only aimed at Shi Shuiyun, it didn't change its direction. Shi Shuiyun's eyes narrowed, and a cold light shot out from her eyes. Just when she was about to block, a warm palm gently hugged her waist, and gently pulled her back. Like a feather, she floated in the air for a while, and then slowly fell down. When she got a clear look, she saw a figure covered in dragon scales going up to meet her. He raised his palm and slapped it down heavily. But it was still the same crisp and melodious sound. Elder Wei was sent flying by the slap, and a few of his teeth were broken. Chapter 119. Yi Tianyun has never been afraid of arrogant people, because he is even more arrogant. So what if you are a spirit core stage cultivator, he can still kill you in seconds. With just one slap, Elder Wei was sent flying and several of his teeth were broken. If it wasn't for his high cultivation, his head would have been broken. Your face is really thick, you still didn't die from that slap. Yi Tianyun shook his hand. He used all his strength just now, but he only sent Elder Wei flying and his teeth were broken, but his head didn't explode. He had even activated his dragon god bloodline, so his violent power was several times stronger than before. His speed is even faster than Elder Wei. Inspector Gu and the others were dumbfounded. Elder Wei's speed is not as fast as this kid? You dare to hit me, I will kill you. Elder Wei bellowed furiously and a pair of sharp claws appeared in his hands, which he equipped. There were very few people who would use claws as weapons, and Elder Wei was one of them. These claws were only low-grade soul tools. Just by looking at the 5-inch-long blades, one could tell how ferocious they were. If you are clawed hard, your whole body will be cut into several pieces. Even if it is just a scratch, a few pieces of flesh will be cut off. Yi Tianyun didn't fight empty-handed, but he used Frost Fist. He didn't dare to be careless. His opponent is a low-grade soul tool, and his cultivation is at spirit core stage. After using his full strength, his combat power soared to 300,000. Compared to the peak of core condensation realm, it is much stronger, it is absolutely a level of crushing. Gloves, I didn't expect you to use gloves. Using this kind of weapon in front of me is simply courting death. Elder Wei is already angry to the extreme. The slap just now completely infuriated him. In the next moment, he used Dragon Cloud Step again and rushed over. In a blink of an eye, he arrived in front of Yi Tianyun. He waved his claws and fiercely clawed towards Yi Tianyun. The sound of the claws cutting through the air echoed in everyone's ears. The flashing light even left a deep mark on the ground. Exploding claw. A series of sonic booms exploded in the air. The instant the hand reached out, its speed increased once again, reaching a terrifying level. Elder Wei intended to kill Yi Tianyun in one hit with this move. He would not hold back at all. His speed dazzled them. They couldn't even see him clearly. In the blink of an eye, he had already arrived in front of Yi Tianyun. Shi Shueyun opened her mouth and wanted to shout, but she realized that her voice was probably not as fast as her opponent's attack speed. This astonishing speed caused Inspector Gu and the others to smile knowingly. Enraging Elder Wei would only result in death. At this moment, a strange light flickered in Yi Tianyun's eyes. A cold light flashed in his eyes, and in the next moment, an ice domain appeared in the surroundings, causing Elder Wei's attack speed to drop drastically. Originally, Elder Wei's attack was just an afterimage, but now, everyone could see it clearly. Freeze. Bang. The effect of the frost fist instantly exploded, freezing Elder Wei, who was rushing over. He was unable to move at all, just like an ice sculpture. In the next moment, Yi Tianyun raised his palm and slapped Elder Wei's face, sending him flying out of the room. Another slap sent him flying away. His teeth almost fell out. Just like how Inspector Gu was treated previously, his teeth were all gone. Even his face was swollen beyond belief. After rolling a few times, Elder Wei's frozen body recovered, and he quickly jumped up from the ground. He looked at Yi Tianyun with eyes full of fear. Just now, he suddenly couldn't move, as if he was frozen. This was a terrifying thing for a life-and-death duel. Fortunately, Yi Tianyun didn't stab him, otherwise, he would definitely be dead. Of course, Yi Tianyun wouldn't end his life so quickly. He still wanted to experience the strength of a spirit core stage cultivator, so he could evaluate his future opponents. What? Didn't you say that you want to kill me? Yi Tianyun spread out his hands, and he thought about the effect of this weapon. At most, it would freeze him for 5 seconds. The higher the cultivation, the shorter the freezing time. Unfortunately, the effect of this weapon wouldn't increase with his cultivation, but with the grade of the weapon. If it increased with his cultivation, then it would be amazing. When the inspectors and elders saw this scene, they were dumbfounded. A spirit core stage powerhouse was slapped twice. If the first slap was too careless, then it was understandable, but the second slap was different. After Shi Shueyun saw it, she breathed a deep sigh of relief. Her heart was in her throat. She was afraid that Yi Tianyun would be torn into several pieces by the claws. What kind of evil martial art is this? Elder Wei said coldly. Is this important? Yi Tianyun had turned this question into his pet phrase. Every time he encountered this kind of situation, he couldn't help but ask this question. That was because it was too strange. It was a strange martial art that they had never seen before. That was why they were so shocked. Elder Wei's face was gloomy. He didn't expect that he, a spirit core stage cultivator, would be played by his opponent. What? Can't say anything? Then it's my turn to attack. Let's finish this quickly, don't waste time. Yi Tianyun's eyes narrowed, and he began to mobilize the power in his body. Crazy damage mode, activate. Crazy experience mode, activate. Boom. After activating the crazy damage mode, his power suddenly increased by 4 times, and his battle power showed an explosive increase. His original battle power of more than 100,000 was ruthlessly increased by 4 times, reaching 390,000 battle power. Because the armor and other things increased his combat power, the effect of the enhancement was on top of his original strength. The Dragon God bloodline also had the effect of quadrupling the damage, so the final superimposed damage reached 390,000. How much damage did his opponent do? Even after equipping his weapon, he only dealt around 300,000 damage. At most, he would deal 320,000 damage. But now, he had already dealt 390,000 damage. If his cultivation hadn't increased by 2 levels, he wouldn't have been able to surpass Elder Wei. The original basic damage was the most important. Without amazing cultivation, quadrupling the damage was futile. An explosive aura surged out in all directions in a tyrannical manner, engulfing everyone. A wave of horror surged from their hearts, and they all had the same thought at the same time. Spirit Core Stage Cultivator. This aura was stronger than Elder Wei's. Didn't this mean that Yi Tianyun's cultivation had reached the Spirit Core stage? Chapter 120. Yi Tianyun's words are like thunder, exploding in their ears. Elder Wei and the others didn't expect that Jade Palace has an old ancestor who broke through to Spirit Core Realm, or some helper, but they didn't expect it to be this young man in front of them. He looks younger than Shi Shuiyun, but his cultivation is far beyond Shi Shuiyun. Monster, he was definitely a monster. This is impossible. You are so young. They were all shocked. He was about 17 years old, yet he had already reached the Spirit Core stage. How did he cultivate? The answer is certainly not cultivation, but killing monsters to level up. As long as there are enough monsters for him to kill, then he can level up instantly. There is no limit, no bottleneck. Nothing is impossible, Qingxian Mansion. Since Qingxian Mansion forced us to this step, then don't blame us for being ruthless. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed with cold light. He suddenly stomped his foot, and with a boom sound he instantly exploded. His whole body seems to be assimilated into a dragon, rushing forward madly. His speed is a level faster than Elder Wei. Dragon God Secret Art, Second Style, Dragon God Fist. In an instant he arrived in front of Elder Wei, and then smashed his fist. The violent fist turned into a dragon's head, fiercely biting down on Elder Wei. Elder Wei waved his sharp claws to attack Yi Tianyun, but compared to him, his speed is still too slow. The most important thing is that during the attack, the Frost Fist constantly releases the power of Frost, greatly slowing down Elder Wei's attack speed. As long as Elder Wei's cultivation is not very high, then he will be firmly controlled. Boom! A heavy punch landed on Elder Wei's body. A red tyrannical aura turned into a huge dragon and penetrated through Elder Wei's body. Following that, Elder Wei was sent flying by the punch and smashed into the wall in the distance. Bang! After smashing into the wall, he slid down the wall. Everyone could see that his chest had caved in. Even though he was wearing armor, his body had still been pierced through by that overbearing punch. The wall that was smashed by him was almost pierced through. Dense cracks spread out from the place where he smashed, and one could feel the tyrannical power from it. He spat out a mouthful of blood. He looked like he was on the verge of death. A single punch had instantly killed him. If it weren't for the armor on his body, which helped to block a lot of the damage, his body would have already been punched through. You sure are tough. Yi Tianyun swung his hand. He had nearly punched Elder Wei to death. Activate Lucky Aura. Successfully activated Luck Aura, increasing luck by 10 times, consuming 100 crazy point per second. At this time, he activated Luck Aura. He didn't activate it before because he had already upgraded it on the way back and spent 100,000 crazy points. He had successfully upgraded his Luck Halo to level 2, instantly increasing his luck by 5 times. This made him exclaim in shock that this was a scam. He thought that it would increase by 10 times, but he didn't expect it to only increase by 5 times, and the consumption is 100 crazy point per second. This kind of consumption really made him not dare to keep it on like before. Now that he activated it, his eyes became sharp. It's time to end this. Yi Tianyun stepped on the ground, and suddenly a long spear appeared in his hand. This is the Blood Fiend Divine Spear, and he aimed it at Elder Wei. If you kill me, Qingxian Mansion will not let you go. We will destroy your Jade Palace, we will destroy. He couldn't finish the rest of the sentence. Yi Tianyun's long spear has already penetrated his heart, and the violent blood fiend power engulfed his consciousness. Elder Wei's eyes widened, and all signs of life quickly disappeared, leaving behind only a corpse. Ding, successfully killed Elder Wei, gained 200,000 EXP 5,000 crazy point. Obtained martial arts Exploding Claw, Dragon Cloud Step, Thunder Cloud Claw. Obtained Dragon Bone Divine Armor, Tyrant Dragon Claw, Quintuple EXP card, Blast Divine Pill. A lot of things burst out, and suddenly his eyes lit up. Although it doesn't look like a set, but it's definitely a good thing. All of them are Soul Tool level treasures, and there's even an Earth level martial art. After all, he is a Spirit Core Realm expert, so the things he drops will definitely not be too bad. After all, this is not the same as looting his storage ring. The things are not the same. Luck is really different, all the basic things are out, but unfortunately there is no reward for fighting a higher level opponent. Yi Tianyun shook his head. The opponent is at the second level of Spirit Core Realm, but after killing him, there is no reward for fighting a higher level opponent. It can only be said that according to the system's judgment, this is not counted as fighting a higher level opponent, so there is no reward. Immediately, he turned his eyes and looked at Inspector Gu and the others. Inspector Gu and the others suddenly felt cold in their heart. They specifically asked for Elder Wei's help. They absolutely have the confidence to destroy Jade Palace, but they didn't expect that even Elder Wei is dead. And he was easily killed by Yi Tianyun, completely crushed by Yi Tianyun. This time they finally believe that the young man in front of them is the one who saved Jade Palace. His strength is beyond their imagination. What do you want to do? You killed our Elder Wei. I advise you to stop. Otherwise, Mansion Lord will really destroy your Jade Palace. If you let us go, after we go back, we will ask Mansion Lord to let us go. Feeling Yi Tianyun's cold killing intent, Inspector G's legs trembled. The other two are also the same. This kind of cultivation is not something they can resist. They can only use Qingshen Mansion to suppress them. I don't know who just said, we are not 3-year-old children. How can we still ask such a childish question? Do you really think that if we let you go back, you will really plead for us and ask Mansion Lord to let us go? Don't be too naive. If we let you go back in a few days, I am afraid that Qingshen Mansion will attack us, right? Yi Tianyun sneered. If I let you go back, you will die. If I don't let you go back, you will also die. Why don't you stay here and die with us? Inspector G's face changed. It seems that Yi Tianyun has no intention to let them go. No, if you let us go. Before he finished speaking, Tianyun has already turned into a red light and pierced through Inspector Gu. He doesn't want to talk nonsense with him anymore. Ding, successfully killed Inspector Gu, gained 140. 000 EXP, 3800 Crazy Point. Obtained Martial Art Transforming Heaven Palm, Netherworld Step. Obtained Treasure Broken Heaven Sword, 100. 000 Experience Pill. The things that dropped are relatively more, especially the Experience Card and Experience Pill. These are relatively rare to drop. But in general, they are not very strong elite, so the things that dropped are relatively limited. High cultivation does not necessarily mean that they are super elite. It must be those with extremely high status and power to drop particularly good things. This time it's your turn. Yi Tianyun turned his eyes and looked at Inspector Fang and the others, making them tremble in fear. Chapter 121. After Elder Wei died, they were destined to die. Since the strongest among them had been killed, the rest of them could only wait for death. Inspector Ge in particular was also pierced by the spear and died instantly. The violent power made their hearts tremble. If they knew that this was not Yi Tianyun's full strength, what would they think? We will not tell anyone. When Inspector Fang and the rest saw Yi Tianyun's demonic gaze, their hearts trembled. It was not easy for them to climb to this position. They did not expect to die here. How could they accept this? What's the point of saying this now? Don't waste my time. The next moment, Yi Tianyun completely ignored their pleas for mercy. He turned into a red light and rushed over, scaring them so much that they turned around and ran outside. At this time, Yi Tianyun stretched out his hand and a terrifying suction force swept out. Like a tornado, it sucked them over and stuck them on his palm. The absorbing star's great skill activated and extracted the spiritual energy in their bodies crazily, turning it into a lot of experience points. Previously, he had wanted to suck Elder Wei dry, but in the end, he chose to kill him in one move. It was to be safe. While he was absorbing, he could not attack. So, if he was attacked later, it would not be a good thing. Therefore, after killing Elder Wei, he wanted to properly absorb the experience and ruthlessly suck them dry. This process did not take long. In just a short while, they were completely sucked dry. There was not a bit of spiritual energy left in them. In total, he gained more than 700,000 experience points. On average, the two of them were worth more than 300,000 experience points. This was more experience points than killing them. This had always been the case. If he could suck them dry and then kill them, the experience points he would gain would be more. Qing Shen Mansion, will not let you off, the two of them shouted weakly. They knew that they could not escape death. In the end, this was the only thing they could say. I've said it before. Even if Qing Shen Mansion doesn't come looking for trouble with me, I will go looking for trouble with Qing Shen Mansion. Yi Tianyun snorted coldly. Then, he swung his gun at them twice and activated his lucky halo. He didn't dare to keep it on for too long. This was definitely a life-threatening existence. Ding, successfully killed Patrol Inspector Fong, gained 160,000 EXP, 3600 crazy point, gained martial art transforming heaven palm, netherworld step. Ding, successfully killed Inspector Zhang, gained 160,000 EXP, 3600 crazy point, gained martial art transforming heaven palm, netherworld step, gained ancient heavenly spear, falling cloud boots. They had all repeatedly dropped martial arts, which meant that he already had 3 copies of the heaven transformation palm. However, the more the better, so he didn't care. These were all earth-level martial arts. If they were sold, they could fetch a good price. There would definitely be as many as there were. However, even with 10x luck, some of the items did not drop. This was just to increase the drop rate, and it wasn't a guaranteed drop. However, being able to obtain a martial art was already very good. Tin Yun, did you break through to Spirit Core Realm? Shi Shuiyun and the others were still shocked. Elder Wei was killed by Yi Tianyun without any difficulty. It really made them dumbfounded. Before, he was still in core condensation, but in a blink of an eye, he reached Spirit Core Realm. How did he cultivate? They always wanted to ask, but they didn't dare to. Yi Tianyun's cultivation was much stronger than them, so they didn't dare to ask. As for Shi Shuiyun, as long as Yi Tianyun was fine, she would only be happy. No, I haven't broken through to Spirit Core Realm yet, Yi Tianyun said with a smile. What? Their expressions froze again. He hadn't even broken through to the Spirit Core stage, but he could already kill Elder Wei. What would happen if he broke through to the Spirit Core stage? What will happen if he breaks through to Spirit Core Realm? Great Elder and the others looked at each other and saw the horror in each other's eyes. They thought that Shi Shuiyun was the fastest to break through to Spirit Core Realm, but now Yi Tianyun is the fastest, and he hasn't broken through to Spirit Core Realm, but he can still kill a Spirit Core Realm expert. This is the most shocking thing. But now it's even more troublesome. After Qing Shen Mansion learns about this, they will definitely attack. After killing Elder Wei, they suddenly felt relieved. Finally, this matter is over, but in fact, this is just the beginning. They killed 3 patrol envoys and an elder of Qing Shen Mansion. Qing Shen Mansion will definitely not let them go. If they don't destroy Jade Palace, they won't be able to calm their anger. What followed was naturally a deep sense of worry. For the time being, they can't send any information to the other side, but soon they noticed the problem. The people they sent haven't come back for so long, so there must be something wrong. This time they are silent. Yi Tianyun is very strong, but the power of Qing Shen Mansion is not so easy to deal with. Elder Wei is just one of the Spirit Core Realm experts. There are more powerful ones. He can kill a 2nd-level Spirit Core Realm expert, but what about 5th or 6th level? Or even 7th or 8th level? There will always be a limit. It's impossible to fight a cultivator with higher cultivation. Qing Shen Mansion, for me, it's not difficult to destroy them, Yi Tianyun said solemnly. If someone else heard this, they would think that they are overestimating themselves. In the face of such a big Qing Shen Mansion, how can one person deal with it? But thinking that he can deal with the 3 major forces before, as long as he has enough time, destroying Qing Shen Mansion is not a problem. But do you have that much time now? We all believe that you can do it, but now you have time. The elders' attitude towards Lee Tianyun has changed completely. They all believe that he can do it. As long as he has enough time, everything will be different. There is something that I wanted to tell you, but I didn't say it until now. Now I can tell you. Lee Tianyun squinted his eyes and said, "Come with me." They looked at each other, not knowing what Lee Tianyun wants to tell them. Shueyun didn't ask anything. After she told Lu Minglian to go back, she followed Lee Tianyun. After they went out, they sat on the giant eagle and began to fly to heaven's immersing ancient ruins. It's not difficult to control, and the good things of Qingxian Mansion belong to them. Is this the way to heaven's immersing ancient ruins? The elders immediately saw it. Yes, it's the way to heaven's immersing ancient ruins. Lee Tianyun said indifferently, could it be? The elders looked at each other. They already have a guess in their mind. There is only one reason to go to heaven's immersing ancient ruins when it is closed, that is, Lee Tianyun can open it. Chapter 122. Riding on the giant eagle, they soon arrived at the heaven's immersing ancient ruins. Fortunately, the giant eagles don't recognize anyone as their master, so whoever controls them can control their flight. That's why they were able to get here so quickly. Here we are. After Lee Tianyun came down from the giant eagle, he walked to the front of the heavens immersing ancient ruins and waved his hand. The gate of the heavens immersing ancient ruins lit up and began to slowly open. This scene stunned all of them. Although they were prepared for it, they were still shocked when they saw Lee Tianyun can control this place. What are you waiting for? Come in. Lee Tianyun took the lead and walked through the barrier. Shueyun smiled slightly and followed him, easily passed through the barrier and entered the heavens immersing ancient ruins. The other three elders also walked in. They didn't have any difficulty entering the barrier. Even the giant eagle was able to come in without any obstacles. We really came in. After they came in, they saw this familiar scene. They haven't been here for many years. They came here when they were young, and now they have reached this age. They couldn't help but sigh. Tianyun, how did you do this? Shueyun asked. It's very simple. When I was looking for martial arts in front of the trial stone tablet, I finally obtained the inheritance of the entire heavens immersing ancient ruins. I am now the inheritor of this place. Everything here belongs to me, or is controlled by Elder Xian. Lee Tianyun waved his hand. Elder Xian appeared in front of them, looking at them with a smile. The sudden appearance of a person startled them. When they saw it clearly, they found that it's not a real person, but an illusion. Young master, you've brought people in. Welcome. Elder Xian said politely. They all nodded. It seems that this place is not simple. The pressure that Elder Xian gave them is very strong. There are no treasures in this heavens immersing ancient ruins. As you saw before, everything has been looted. But as a place for cultivation and shelter, it is absolutely perfect. As long as we move all of our disciples here, it will be much safer than Jade Palace, and the cultivation environment here will be much better than Jade Palace. Lee Tianyun said with a smile. As long as we hide here, Profound Azure Mansion will never know where we are. Lee Tianyun said with a smile. But in this way, we will have to abandon Jade Palace. This is a difficult choice, but for now we can only compromise. Originally, Lee Tianyun only wanted to tell Shueyun about this, so he can only say it in advance. He intends to let all disciples come in. This place is not only safe, but also has more cultivation places, which will greatly improve cultivation speed. But they have to abandon Jade Palace, which is their foundation, but if they don't do this, they will perish. Lee Tianyun didn't dare to say that he could destroy the Profound Azure Mansion as he didn't know how powerful the Profound Azure Mansion was. Moreover, there were so many of them that he couldn't deal with them in a short time. Hiding inside was undoubtedly the best choice. They didn't think for long and immediately nodded. This is indeed a difficult choice, but we have no other choice. The elders smiled bitterly as they shook their heads. Weak forces like them were merely puppets. It was the same for the other three powers as well. They were nothing more than puppets of the Qingxian Mansion, and they wanted to make use of their strength to take over the area and gain control over it. The reason for this was very simple. It was for resources. If they compromise, the result is not good. In addition to becoming puppets, Jade Palace will be separated. It's impossible for them to let Jade Palace remain the same. They will definitely arrange a lot of people to enter Jade Palace. At that time, Jade Palace will no longer be Jade Palace, but a branch of Qingshen Mansion. Compromising was just dragging out an ignoble existence. It was up to him which he would choose. If it was something like a subsidiary, they might be able to accept it if they didn't interfere with the management. Attaching to a big force would be of great help to them. But Qingshen Mansion has completely infiltrated. At that time, all the female disciples will be forcibly combined with the disciples of Qingshen Mansion. This is simply inhumane. But for Yi Tianyun, just forcing Shi Shuiyun to be the concubine of the mansion lord of Qingshen Mansion is already intolerable. Whether it's surrender or resistance, Shi Shuiyun will be captured as a concubine. This undoubtedly completely angered him. Don't worry about this. Trees die when moved, people live when moved. I remember that the old ancestor of Jade Palace also came from the outside. There's nothing he can't do, and the environment of heaven's immersing ancient ruins is better than Jade Palace. Choosing a good place is the right way. Shi Shuiyun continued at this time. When our strength is improved, no one will dare to do this to us. Their foundation is too weak now. When their overall cultivation is improved, then this kind of thing will not happen. The other elders nodded. This is the only thing they can do now. The saying of survival of the fittest is reflected in them. If you are too weak, you will be devoured. If you don't want to be devoured, you can only become stronger. Then the best thing to do now is to summon all the disciples and prohibit everyone from going out. With the current situation of heaven's immersing ancient ruins, there is no problem to accommodate everyone. Shi Shuiyun said. The elders nodded. They want to summon all the disciples as soon as possible. Otherwise, when Qingshen Mansion reacted, it will be too late. Immediately they began to prepare. At this time, Yi Tianyun said to Shi Shuiyun, Aunt, I have to go out for a while. But Shi Shuiyun was startled. At this time, Yi Tianyun is still running around. It's dangerous outside. I need to go out and practice. I can't break through if I stay here. Yi Tianyun said with a dignified expression. The heavens immersing ancient ruins is a good place, but it's impossible for him to break through. Although he can use the absorbing star's great technique to cultivate here, but if he drains all the spiritual power here, it's very easy for the heavens immersing ancient ruins to collapse. Last time he absorbed a little bit of spiritual power, but it's already gone. His goal is not to level up 1 or 2, but to level up more than 5 or 6. Without reaching the 5th or 6th level of Spirit Core Realm, how can he fight the enemy? Heaven's immersing ancient ruins great formation is already broken. If he continues like this, it will definitely collapse. With his current level, he can't repair it at all. He needs at least a 5th grade Divine Rune Master to repair it. His current level is far from enough. He hasn't even used it much, let alone repair it. Shi Shuiyun was silent for a while, and finally can only sigh. Tianyun. She just gently called out Yi Tianyun's name, but couldn't say anything else. Aunt, don't worry, I will be back soon. You don't need to worry about my safety. At this time, Yi Tianyun took out the 100 transformation mask, put it on his face, and instantly changed his face. Look, who can recognize me? This is really amazing. This treasure is so magical. After Shi Shuiyun saw it, her beautiful eyes suddenly lit up. She is worried about this? Yes. Are you still worried that I will be recognized? Yi Tianyun smiled lightly. Chapter 123. Now that Yi Tianyun has the 100 transformation mask, Shi Shuiyun is relieved. She is not as worried as before, but she is very sorry that Yi Tianyun has been busy. After letting Shi Shuiyun feel at ease, Yi Tianyun began to refine tools and pills like crazy. He refined all the materials he obtained before and obtained a large number of weapons and pills, but he didn't give them to Shi Shuiyun, he sold them all. Supreme Spirit Tool, selling price, 5000 crazy point, do you want to sell? So, third level pill, selling price 3000 crazy point, sell? So, best spirit tool, he sold all of them, not keeping a single one, just for the crazy points. Crazy point, I need a lot of crazy point. Tianyun is going crazy. He wants to upgrade his Dragon God bloodline, or crazy mode, but it requires too much crazy point. For this reason, he sold all the weapons and martial arts he obtained before in exchange for crazy point. After clearing all of them, he investigated the data. Player, Tianyun level, 30, 10th level core condensation, EXP, 298728 crazy point, prestige, 230 cultivation technique, Dark North divine art, Dragon God secret art, Xian Tian divine art ability, Absorbing stars great technique, Blood Fiend soaring heaven weapon, Frost fist, Blood Fiend divine spear, Endless sword, Chaotic heaven sacred axe armor, Divine armor, Shadow cloak, Chaotic heaven divine armor, Chaotic heaven battle boots divine ability, Crazy mode, Luck aura bloodline, Dragon God. Bloodline decoration, Forging God hammer, Power bracelet, Power ring, Power belt, Blood Fiend bracelet all items, 18 recovery pill, Gift pack LV31, Life X1, Bad luck divine pill, 5 times EXP card, Blast divine pill treasure, Purple fire divine furnace title, Guardian flame. Immortal fire. Looking at the amount of experience required, he shook his head and smiled bitterly. When he breaks through to Spirit Core realm, he will need more experience. Therefore, other than going to a more powerful place to kill demonic beasts and cultivate, there was no other way. There was one more thing, and that was equipment forging and alchemy. To be honest, he had always thought about this, but it was impossible. First of all, the materials were not endless. It would take a long time before a new batch of materials could be obtained. Moreover, the experience gained was not particularly great. Unless he had a huge pile of materials to refine, waiting for materials to be used to refine and upgrade his equipment wasn't worth it at all. The situation at the Qingxian mansion was already very urgent. How could he wait for the materials to be refined? Level up, Dragon God bloodline. Ding, successfully deducted 10,000 crazy points, successfully upgraded Dragon God bloodline to level 3. The next grade, Dragon God bloodline, requires 500,000 crazy point. In an instant he lost 100,000 crazy points. This was the price he got after selling 20 best grade spirit tools. In fact, he didn't have enough materials to make 20 best grade spirit tools. Only 200,000 crazy points left. I can't upgrade anything. Tianyun shook his head, his eyes flashed. He already had a plan in his mind. It seems that I can only buy 10x EXP card, as long as 500,000 crazy points. I can buy almost 4 of them. As long as I kill demonic beasts, then the level will definitely rise crazily. Immediately he opened the merchant shop and selected 3 10x EXP card in a row, and then chose to buy it. Unexpectedly, when he clicked on it, a message popped up. Not enough crazy points to buy the third one. Please choose again. What? Tianyun's eyes widened. 50,000 crazy points for a 10x EXP card. He had almost 200,000 crazy points, but he can't even buy 3? After he chose 2 again, he bought them, but he only had nearly 500,000 crazy points left. At this time, the price of 10x EXP card on the item column has been stacked to 150,000 crazy points to buy 1. What the hell is this? Tianyun was shocked. He thought he could buy 3, but now he found out that he was too naive. The price will still rise. He checked the note. Consumables, buy 1 will double the price, no limit. Isn't this a scam? Tianyun wanted to curse. This means that after buying the third one, the fourth 10x EXP card will need 200,000 crazy points. He knew that when he kills monsters in the future, he will definitely get a lot of crazy points, but for now, it is undoubtedly a scam. Forget it, I will buy other multiples of EXP card, and buy crazy points card. It is really a scam. Tianyun shook his head. Without crazy points it is really difficult to move forward. At this time, all the disciples of Jade Palace have finished moving. When they know that they can freely enter and exit heaven's immersing ancient ruins, they were shocked. A place they dreamed of, they will live here in the future, how can they not be shocked? At this time, it is also time for Yi Tianyun to leave. He stayed here to see if there will be any changes. He is not in a hurry to leave. Now that Jade Palace has finished moving, it is time for him to leave. "Aunt, I have to go, I will be back soon. The control of this place has been transferred to you, so you are equivalent to the second owner." Yi Tianyun can give the control to Shi Shuiyun, but he is still the main controller, just one more controller. "Well, you must be careful." Shi Shuiyun looked at him with her beautiful eyes. She wanted to say a lot, but she couldn't. Yi Tianyun nodded. After looking at her for the last time, he turned and disappeared into the distant forest. Shi Shuiyun stared for a long time. She doesn't know how long she stood at the door, and finally went back with some reluctance. After saying goodbye, Yi Tianyun went straight to another area, Heavenly Border Continent. The place he stayed before is called Earthly Border Continent. However, the area he stayed in is only a small part of it, but the forces are generally at the peak of second level. There is basically no third level force. Heavenly Border Continent is different. It is more vast, has more forces and more abundant resources. Qing Shen Mansion is here, but it is only one of the forces. There are many more powerful forces here. His purpose here is relatively simple, that is to kill demon beasts. He does not intend to join any sect, he just came here to kill demon beasts. Different areas, the level of demon beasts that exist is basically the same. With his current cultivation, he doesn't know how many demon beasts he needs to kill to level up. Even if he has the patience to kill demon beasts, there is not enough demon beasts for him to kill. Chapter 124. Yi Tianyun rode the Black Dragon and flew straight to the Heavenly Boundary Continent. He flew at the fastest speed. Finally, after flying for a few days, he saw a sea. On the other side of this sea was a brand new continent. That is the Heavenly Boundary Continent. It really seems like the name. It has the feeling of the Heavenly Boundary Continent. There is a light in the sky covering this area, bathing the entire continent. This looks like a miracle, but many people don't know what is going on. But one thing they know is that the cultivation environment of the Heavenly Boundary Continent is much better than that of the Earthly Boundary Continent. If you want to go to the Heavenly Boundary Continent, you have to cross the sea. It's not difficult, you just need to take a ship to cross. It's just that if you go there, the competitive environment is even worse. So many sects can't bear it and finally choose to move to the Earthly Boundary Continent. Among them, Jade Palace seems to be moved from the Heavenly Boundary Continent. This seems a bit wasteful, but in a world like a battlefield, without a strong cultivation, it's really impossible to survive. Because of this, the Heavenly Boundary Continent didn't have any first-grade forces. The worst ones were second-grade forces, and these second-grade forces were very strong. It was necessary to have a spirit core expert, otherwise, they wouldn't be able to survive here. Because Yi Tianyun has a black dragon, he can easily cross the sea without a ship. It's just that this black dragon flying in the sky is really dazzling. Look, that's a black dragon. Yes, it's really a black dragon. I didn't expect someone can use a dragon as a mount. This is incredible. How did he do it? The person riding on it seems very young. When the cultivators who crossed the sea on a ship to the Heavenly Boundary Continent saw the black dragon in the sky, they were all shocked. This is a rare scene, absolutely impossible to see. Yi Tianyun, who is riding on the black dragon, completely ignored their gazes. He knows that if he wants to cross the sea, he must fly or take a ship. However, the time needed to travel by ship was too long, at least a few days. He only needed a short day to cross the entire sea. This was all thanks to the black dragon's astonishing flying speed, which was much faster than the giant eagle. He didn't want to waste time here. He guessed that the Qing Shen Mansion would only take 2 to 3 months to attack. This meant that he only had 2 to 3 months. 3 months was the limit. By the time they realized that something was wrong, a long time had passed. After all, the Qing Shen Mansion was located in the Heavenly Boundary Continent, which was quite far away. Even if they rode a giant eagle, it would take them more than a week to get there. Plus, since he is hiding in the heavens immersing ancient ruins, no one will be able to find him for a while, so he still has some time, at least 2 or 3 months. However, he had given himself a time limit of 3 months. No matter what his cultivation level was, He had to return as soon as possible. Heaven's immersing ancient ruins is too dilapidated. Under the crazy attack, it might really break. Because he was wearing the 100 transformation mask, he didn't have to worry about being recognized, so he rode the black dragon to his heart's content. Riding on the black dragon, he soon arrived at the opposite heavenly boundary continent. As soon as he entered the area, Yi Tianyun immediately felt a strong spiritual power rushing towards him. The spiritual power here is quite strong, at least 2 or 3 times stronger than in the earthly boundary continent. This is enough to shock people. No wonder there are so many strong cultivators here. Just by staying here, the cultivation speed is several times faster than in the earthly boundary continent. And this is just the most ordinary place. If it's a better place, the effect will be absolutely amazing. No wonder so many people came to the heavenly boundary continent. The cultivation environment here is really good. Yi Tianyun nodded. He felt that this place is indeed very suitable for cultivation. Although it's not as good as the spirit gathering formation in the heavens immersing ancient ruins, it's a lot closer. At least it's a blessing for ordinary cultivators. For this reason, many people from the earthly boundary continent came to the heavenly boundary continent to explore. It is precisely because there are too many cultivators here, so there are more conflicts, suitable for those extremely radical cultivators. Compared to here, the earthly boundary continent is a bit more gentle, but the cultivation speed is much slower. Soon after, he surveyed his surroundings and saw a city in the distance. After which, he found a remote place and landed. After which, he changed his expression and swaggered towards the nearest city. No one recognized him now, so there's no pressure to walk around. Because he came to this area for the first time, he didn't know where the most monsters were. He could only come here to inquire about the most dangerous place with many monsters. He wanted to go straight to that kind of place, otherwise, leveling up in other places is too slow. Unless he goes crazy here and kills people he sees, then his level will definitely soar. But he won't do that. Although he is not a good person, he is definitely not a murderous maniac. It is completely not in line with his state of mind. Soon he came to the nearest city. There are several guards outside the gate. All of them are above the 3rd or 4th level of spirit refinement realm. As long as a cultivator comes in, they will immediately collect money. Tianxin City? Yi Tianyun looked up at the huge city gate. 3 big characters are deeply engraved on it. The person who can engrave these characters is definitely a strong cultivator, at least above the spirit core realm. Wait, are you new here? You can go in after paying 10 gold. The guard stared at the new cultivator and pointed to the sign next to him. Don't you see this sign? If you want to go in, you have to pay 10 gold. The cultivator's face is bitter. His cultivation is only at the body refinement realm, so he doesn't have much money on him. 10 gold is not a small amount, but if he wants to go in, he can only pay. Soon it is Yi Tianyun's turn. He took out 10 gold and put it on the side, then he can go in and out at will. As long as you come out and then go in, you have to pay 10 gold again. This is equivalent to protection fee. After entering, it is equivalent to being protected by the city. After entering, you can't fight at will, you can't rob, you will be severely punished. There are no rules, so this is equivalent to a novice city, protecting the newcomers. This place is closest to the sea, which means that the cultivators who come here are from the Earth boundary continent, so their cultivation is basically not high. Tianxin City is undoubtedly a very good choice. You can cultivate here, you can also find things to do here, improve your cultivation and then go to other places. Chapter 125. After Yi Tianyun entered, he saw a bustling street. There was an endless stream of cultivators coming and going, and many of them did not have high cultivation. For them, this place was simply heaven. Compared to the outside, this place was much safer, but without money, it would be impossible to stay here. If you want to enter and exit this place without paying any fees, it is actually relatively simple, that is to become a resident of Heavenly New City. This is done by joining Heavenly New City. The conditions are relatively simple, that is to help Heavenly New City complete tasks. For example, picking spirit herbs, hunting demon beasts, or searching for evil people. As long as you complete a lot of tasks, you can get contribution points. When you reach a certain amount, You can exchange it for permanent residency, and other things. It can be said that it is similar to money. You can exchange it for anything. As long as you have enough contribution points, it is not a problem to exchange for an Earth-level martial art, but the number of contribution points required is relatively high. However, Lee Tianyun does not need to care about this. He needs to understand the surrounding information. He went straight to a shop, threw out a gold ingot, and said indifferently, "Give me the detailed information of Heavenly Boundary Continent." When the shopkeeper saw the gold ingot, his eyes lit up. "Very well. Please wait a moment." With that, he immediately turned back to the house and took out all the miscellaneous books, which recorded the most detailed situation of the Heavenly Borders continent. Tianyun took it and flipped through it. There is indeed a lot of content. Generally, all aspects are marked, such as the forces, the surrounding danger zones, all are marked one by one. The price is relatively moderate, suitable for those cultivators who have just arrived. After reading for a while, Lee Tianyun frowned. It is true that the danger zones are marked in general, but the detailed content is very little, almost skipped over. This is like saying that a knife is very sharp, but it does not say who made it, what material is used, how much is the price. The detailed content is too little. If you go there, it is dangerous, but without a demon beast that matches your cultivation, it would be a wasted trip. "Shopkeeper, do you have any details about the danger zone?" Lee Tianyun asked. "I don't have that. For more details, you can only go to the Star Pavilion. You can buy all the information you need there." The shopkeeper rubbed his palms together, his face filled with respect. The things that Lee Tianyun wanted were only a few taels of silver, but he gave him an ingot of gold. How could he not be respectful? "Star Pavilion, huh? Looks like I can only go there." Lee Tianyun didn't know before, but now he understood the situation. The status of Star Pavilion here is similar to that of Rain House. They sell all kinds of things and information. Here, you can buy all the news about the Heavenly Boundary Continent, even accurate information about a certain cultivator. Of course, the cultivator had to be valuable, such as the one on the wanted list. Only then would the Star Pavilion pay attention to him. As long as the price was high enough, they would give accurate information. They would definitely not cheat people. The Star Pavilion had branches all over the Heavenly Boundary Continent, unlike the Heavenly Rain Pavilion, which had branches, but only in a few cities. This Star Pavilion is powerful. It is equivalent to a force. It belongs to the top of the third-grade forces. No one dares to provoke it. It is because of such a strong force that they dare to open these treasure pavilions. Otherwise, in remote places, they would be robbed. Shortly after, he turned around and walked to the entrance of the Star Pavilion. Looking at the towering pagoda in front of him, he felt a sense of pressure. Whether it was the decorations or the materials used, they were all relatively wild, dark steel. A material that can be used to forge an upper-grade spirit tool was used to build the whole pagoda. It can be described as rich and overbearing. Not only in Heavenly New City, but also in other cities, it is a symbol of the Star Pavilion. This pagoda is equivalent to a fortress. As long as the door is closed, as long as the cultivation is not very high, no one can break in. Is this the Star Pavilion? Why not call it Star Tower? Lee Tianyun smiled and stepped inside. As soon as he entered, the guards stared at him. Their cultivation is at 8th level spirit refinement realm. However, after sizing him up for a while, he ignored him. After entering, he can see a strong core condensation realm cultivator walking in this first floor. As one of the stewards here, he is responsible for the safety of this place. Lee Tianyun couldn't help but sigh. Sure enough, in this area, it is easy to see people with high cultivation. "I don't know how I can help you?" The female cultivator next to him greeted him with a smile. As long as a guest comes in, they must greet them with the best smile. Their cultivation is not high, only at first-level spirit refinement realm. In the first-grade forces, they are already worthy of training, but here, they can only serve as a receptionist. This is the gap between regions. Generally, when the cultivation is not low, the level is a level higher. Lee Tianyun glanced at the first floor. There are a lot of good materials, but he doesn't have much interest now. "I want to buy information," Lee Tianyun said directly. "Yes, please come with me." The female cultivator took him upstairs. After walking to the third floor, she took him to the innermost part. There is an old man sitting there with his eyes closed. Even when they walked in front of him, he didn't wake up. "Deacon Huang, there is a guest," the female cultivator whispered. Deacon Huang woke up, and as soon as he opened his eyes, he looked directly at Yi Tianyun, and after a moment he smiled. "Good boy, you're so young, yet you hide your strength. It seems that you're new to Star Pavilion, right?" "Why do you say that?" Tianyun said. Deacon Huang's cultivation is also not low. He is at 5th level core condensation, which is relatively high. Although I can't see how strong your cultivation is, I can vaguely feel that you have a sense of pressure. Although your aura is very weak, I can still feel a little bit. You're so young and your cultivation isn't bad, you're definitely on the list. Unfortunately, I don't have your memories, so you're probably not from Heavenly Boundary Continent. Deacon Huang smiled. Am I right? In just a short while, Xiao Chen was able to see some clues. It seemed that this stellar pavilion was really something. Is it important? Yi Tianyun smiled indifferently and didn't answer the question. I came here to buy information. Where is the most dangerous place with the most demon beasts, and the cultivation level can't be too low, at least core condensation level. Chapter 126. Yi Tianyun doesn't care what Deacon Huang thinks. Anyway, as long as he goes out, he can change his face without any pressure. Deacon Huang squinted his eyes and looked at Yi Tianyun. He has to say that this news is quite impactful. Specifically looking for a dangerous place, and looking for a core condensation cultivator, it must be to hunt demon beasts. It seems that this friend is planning to hunt demon beasts. Deacon Huang's eyes flashed with interest. I can give you this news, but now I have two options for you. The first option is to hunt demon beasts. As long as you sell them to us, we will give you a good price, and the information fee will be free. The second option is 1,000 gold. We will give you the information directly. Compared to this, I prefer to cooperate with you. The price is absolutely advantageous. I think you know the situation of Star Pavilion. We will definitely give you a good price. It just so happens that we are short of a batch of demon beasts. If you can provide it to us, that would be great. No problem, but I only need materials in exchange, not gold. Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. He doesn't hate this kind of condition. Anyway, he is going to kill demon beasts, so collecting the corpses is just a matter of convenience. Deal. Yi Tianyun immediately agreed. This is equivalent to an extra task. Why not accept it? Successfully accepted hunting demon beast task. Hunting 100 core condensation demon beasts. Reward 500. 000 EXP. 10,000 gold. 10,000 crazy point. 10 lottery tickets. Star Pavilion favorability increased by 100. A task suddenly popped up. It's a side task. It makes his eyes light up. He needs this kind of task. Especially if he can build a good relationship with Star Pavilion, this is even better. Star Pavilion has amazing power. It's naturally good to have a good relationship with them. To be honest, there are few places where demon beasts gather, especially those above core condensation. After all, the higher the cultivation of the demon beasts, the more they don't like to live in groups. This time I just got the latest news, that is in the Devil Sea Danger Zone. Deacon Huang said. Devil Sea Danger Zone? Yi Tianyun frowned. There are a total of 5 danger zones in Heavenly Border Continent, one of which is Devil Sea Danger Zone, but the danger level is at least top 3. The main reason was that it was seawater, and it was impossible to fly in the first place. Even if one's cultivation was not bad, one would not be able to move freely in the sea, making it even more difficult. Don't tell me those demonic beasts are all in the sea? This is not an easy task. Yi Tianyun did not like to hunt demonic beasts in the sea. It was not a good thing. He couldn't go on a killing spree in the sea. It was too difficult. Even with the black dragon, it wouldn't be easy to deal with them. Of course, it's impossible. If you don't have a core transformation stage cultivation, you won't be able to kill the demon beasts in the sea at will. Deacon Huang said sullenly, I'm talking about the demonic cloud island in the demonic sea. I don't know what's going on, but a group of demonic beasts suddenly appeared there. They all climbed up from the bottom of the sea and gathered together. Their cultivation ranges from spirit refinement realm to core condensation realm. However, we can only observe it from afar. As for the details, we are not too sure. We cannot rule out the possibility of an existence with a higher cultivation. Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. As long as there were a lot of them, it would be more meaningful to use the 10 times EXP card. Deacon Huang said in a deep voice, but the demonic sea is very dangerous. Most people can't fly, so it's even more dangerous to go there by boat. Maybe they will die on the way before they reach the destination. This is the general information. At present, only this information is consistent. There are other powerful demonic beasts, but you said that there are a lot of them gathered together. That's enough. This information is very good. This is what I need. Yi Tianyun was very satisfied. This kind of information can't be obtained from normal channels. Because the demonic sea is extremely dangerous, normal cultivators can't go there, so it's impossible to know the information there. It's good that you're satisfied, but this is very dangerous. Are you sure you want to go? If it's just to hunt demonic beasts, I have a few here. Deacon Huang's eyes narrowed. Yi Tianyun's answer made him even more confused. No need, this is it. Yi Tianyun smiled and said, I plan to go to the demonic cloud island to hunt demonic beasts. Your star pavilion doesn't plan to carefully explore or hunt those demonic beasts. Our star pavilion is very powerful, but we're not willing to go everywhere, especially this kind of dangerous place. If we're not careful, a few deacons or elders will lose their lives. This is not a cost-effective thing. Deacon Huang smiled and said, we just need to provide information, we don't care about anything else. Has anyone bought this information? Yi Tianyun squinted and asked. I can't tell you about that. Deacon Huang smiled in a professional manner. Yi Tianyun smiled and didn't force anything. Then do we need to sign something? Yi Tianyun asked. No need, you've already signed a verbal agreement with me. All the demonic beasts you hunt will be sold to us. Of course, you can keep some for yourself, but you can't sell it to other forces except us. Once you sell it, you'll be in violation of the rules and will be completely blacklisted by our star pavilion. We will not sell anything to you in the future. If you can hide the information from us, you can sell it to us. Deacon Huang smiled and said confidently. Star Pavilion's collection of information was top-notch, so if Yi Tianyun sold the demonic beasts, he would definitely be blacklisted. However, Star Pavilion would not eradicate Yi Tianyun because of this. They would only blacklist him and never allow him to enter. As one of the top treasure pavilions in Heavenly Border Continent, if Star Pavilion was blacklisted, many treasure pavilions would not be able to enter, which would be a big loss. Don't worry, since I've promised, I will do it. Yi Tianyun smiled and said, I believe you. Deacon Huang said, then what do you need us to provide, such as a ship or something else? That's not necessary, just provide me with a general route. Yi Tianyun said, this is a must, I'll give you the corresponding accurate information now, you can take a look at it carefully. Deacon Huang stood up and walked into the room behind him. Soon, he came out with an astrolabe in his hand. This astrolabe allowed him to see the relevant routes. After receiving the astrolabe, Yi Tianyun read the information inside. Sure enough, it was a very detailed map, even the entire Heavenly Border Continent was included in it. Among them, there was a shining bright spot outside the Heavenly Border Continent, that was Devil Cloud Island. That's Devil Cloud Island, just follow this route. Deacon Huang smiled and said, good, then I'll accept it, wait for my news. Yi Tianyun put away the astrolabe and turned to leave. Young master, wait a minute, how many people are you going with? Deacon Huang asked. No, I'm alone. Chapter 127. After Yi Tianyun left, he went straight to the Devil Cloud Island. After leaving quickly, someone immediately flashed out of the Star Pavilion and stared at Yi Tianyun's figure, and then quickly followed him. But when he went out of the gate, he found that Yi Tianyun had disappeared. What's the situation? He disappeared? The cultivator who was responsible for tracking Yi Tianyun's situation was stunned. In a blink of an eye, Yi Tianyun disappeared. He didn't know where he went. He patted his thigh and said in distress, It seems that when I go back, I will definitely be scolded. Tianyun was alone, so Deacon Huang must investigate to see if he was acting alone. He didn't expect him to disappear as soon as he came out. How could he not be distressed? Deacon Huang, the young master is gone. I lost him. The guard who came back lowered his head. His face was full of guilt. It's okay. It's normal for you to lose him. His cultivation is unfathomable. I can't accurately sense how strong he is. But since he has the courage to go to the Devil Cloud Island, his cultivation must not be bad. Deacon Huang waved his hand and said, "This is not your fault. You can go now." The guard finally heaved a sigh of relief and immediately retreated. Deacon Huang's eyes flashed a few rays of light. I don't know where that kid came from. I don't know if he really went to the Devil Cloud Island alone. Although the Star Pavilion happened to be short of demon beasts, it doesn't mean that they will send people to hunt them, because the price is too high. At least a lot of core condensation cultivators or spirit core cultivators must be organized. If they didn't have any treasures, it wouldn't be worth it to just go hunting. The demon beast's body can be used as alchemy materials or forging materials. It can also be sold to others for a high price. But for them, there is no need to collect these things themselves. It is enough to rely on acquisition. Outside the city gates, Tianyun naturally sensed that someone was following him as he walked out. However, he paid no attention to it as he activated stealth and disappeared into a corner. After walking out of the city gate, he found a remote corner and summoned the Black Dragon. He rode the Black Dragon and flew towards Devil Cloud Island at an extremely fast speed. In an instant, it soared to the limit. Like a sharp arrow, it shot forward at an extreme speed, leaving a black shadow in the sky. It should be roughly in this direction. Tianyun checked the astrolabe. He had been flying for 2 days and was only halfway there. If they were to sail slowly, it would take at least half a month to reach their destination, and the journey would be even more dangerous. Assuming there was no danger, the round trip would take more than a month. If there was no Black Dragon, he would definitely not accept this mission. In fact, compared to this, he wanted to kill his way to Qingshen Mansion, but his cultivation is not high enough. If he went there and was surrounded, it would be a dead end. When he was about to continue flying towards Devil Cloud Island, he suddenly saw a large ship surrounded by more than a dozen ships on the seashore in the distance. These ships were all small, but they were being towed by sky sharks. Those who can subdue demon beasts like flying sharks must not be simple. Hee, boss, there are several beautiful girls on the ship. This time, we can eat meat again. We didn't play enough last time, and this time, they are obviously more beautiful. The pirate next to him smirked and looked at the female cultivators on the ship with pale faces. He licked his lips as if he had encountered a delicious meal. Not bad, this batch looks really good, and the quality is even better. It seems that this is a good sect. Bai Yun Tao looked at the cultivators on the ship, his eyes flashed with a bit of sinister light, and immediately said to the cultivators on the ship, "I advise you to surrender. Do you think you can fight us here? This sea region is our world." He wasn't spouting nonsense. With the help of the flying sky shark, they could swim freely in the sea without having to worry about encountering anything. The cultivators on the ship are pale, their cultivation is not high. Basically, they are at 7th or 8th level of spirit refinement, and the strongest is at 3rd level of core condensation. But compared to the pirates on the opposite side, there are 3 core condensation cultivators. Moreover, they can control a large number of flying sharks. This gap is simply incomparable. We are all from Heaven's top mansion. I advise you to leave quickly, otherwise, don't blame our sect leader for coming after you. One of the male disciples shouted loudly, but his voice is not full of confidence. Heaven's top mansion? Bai Yun Tao sneered. That broken sect, and you call it mansion? It's not even as good as a 2nd-level faction, and you call it mansion. Deacon Chen, what should we do? One of the beautiful women in yellow clothes asked with a pale face. They could all imagine what would happen to them if they were captured. The rest of them are the same. They are looking at Deacon Chen, who has the highest cultivation, to see what he can do. This time, they came out to train. They are planning to wander around this area. Although this is the sea, it is not close to the Devil's Sea, so it is still safe, but they didn't expect to encounter a group of pirates. Generally speaking, it is rare to encounter pirates, but this time, they met a lot of them. Deacon Qian's expression is indifferent. He did not panic at all. Instead, he looked at them and said, "Surrender, this is the best way." "What?" The female disciples on the ship suddenly turned pale. They thought they will have to fight to escape, but they did not expect that Deacon Qian did not even resist and let them surrender. "Deacon Qian, what are you talking about?" One of the male disciples stood up and said angrily, "Deacon Qian, even if we die, we have to fight. We can't let them do what they want, we will die anyway." In addition to this male disciple, the rest of the male disciples have a high awareness. If they are captured by these pirates, their fate is no different from death. That being the case, it is better to fight this way, they may have a chance to survive. Deacon Qian suddenly moved. He rushed in front of the male disciple and fiercely kicked him. With a prrrrnt sound, the male disciple was kicked flying. He looked up to the sky and spat out a mouthful of blood before sinking to the bottom of the sea, no longer able to float. "Since you want to die, then die first." Deacon Qian looked at the other disciples coldly and said, "Now, who else refuses to surrender?" "Old Qian, why are you in such a hurry? We haven't played enough. Scare them, this is fun." Bai Yuntao smiled, his eyes are full of ridicule. "You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.